So I've been doing a lot of thinking about everything that's been happening the last couple of days. Sorry about that. And I mean, as you guys know, me, just like everybody else that I've worked with and spoken to lately, for the most part, is feeling really, really down about where the country is and where things are heading, especially after the 2027 NDAA got passed through Congress the other day. It still has to go through the Senate, but as of now, it's looking like it's going to go through, and this intelligence and tech merger is going to happen. And when I was working on today's live and I set up the thumbnail, I said, the end of free speech. And, the more I think about it, because you guys got to understand, everything is moving very fast right now. And there are different parts of all this that are all accelerating at the same time, to the point where it could be very overwhelming. Like it's hard to keep up sometimes, between what's happening with Iran, what's happening with our politics, keeping up with the Charlie Kirk investigation, still trying to research the files, and see other tragedies and things that are going on right now. Especially this new case that's coming out now with Nolan Wells. That's a tragedy that deserves attention. I think that it's really unfortunate that cases like that end up just flooding the media waves, though, to get used to distract from the other things that are going on. But that's another story. But anyway, the more I was thinking about things today, the better I started feeling about the situation. And let me explain to you why. As I said, there are different parts that are moving right now with all this. And the government has their foot on the gas, and they are going full speed, trying to push all this legislation and make all these changes and just bake it in to our laws and to our country. And I realized something. They're doing that for a reason. And that's because as fast as they're trying to go, they're trying to keep up with us. I mean, think about it. Every single day for the past year, more and more people are waking up about our government. They're waking up about the corruption. They're waking up about the WWE left versus right shenanigans that goes on behind the scenes. They're waking up to the files. They're waking up and starting to ask questions about what happened with Charlie Kirk, what happened with COVID, what happened with other events. It's like we feel overwhelmed because they're flooding the zone and that they're trying to accelerate all these plans. But the truth is, they're only accelerating because what we're doing is working. What we're doing is working. We are waking people up. I mean, guys, put in the chat right now, off the top of your head, how many content creators that you guys listen to throughout the course of the week? Just ballpark it. Like, don't even really think about it. Just ballpark it. Because for me, it's probably 20. It's probably 20. And even if it's half of that for you guys, even if it's a quarter, even if you only got 5 people that you're listening to, that's 5 different individuals that are dedicating their lives to getting the truth out. Whether it's for this case, this situation, that situation, it doesn't matter. There are so many people that love this country and care about the truth and want the truth out there and want to fight the corruption. And I think it's the government that's overwhelmed. I really do. I think it's the deep state that's overwhelmed. I really am starting to believe that. And like right now, they are screwing up really bad. Really bad. They have an entire generation that is very, very based, that is not getting it as indoctrinated with the public schools. We still have to worry about the influence with the kids, with music and movies and television and all that. But I think they're starting to get it. Like, you're going to have a lot of dumbasses out there. I mean, it is what it is. Kids will be kids. But for the most part, I really do believe that the world is starting to wake up and America's starting to wake up. I mean, even I look at my demographics. Like yesterday, I was talking about how the boomers are indoctrinated And a lot of people say that the boomers are part of the problem. But like, I mean, I look at my audience. I don't really have anybody younger than me that watches my content. Everybody that watches my content is at least like 35 and up. I think the majority are probably over 50. And I know that I have a lot of boomers that watch. So I don't even think it's fair to say that boomers are the problem, because they're waking up too. You guys are waking up too. And every single day, especially recently, like I'm looking at my numbers alone and I get so excited with my growth. And then it's like I look at the people that I work with and that I'm starting to associate with, and I'm like, damn, like they got, their reach is way further than mine. So if I can feel as successful and that I'm making a difference with my small channel, and the couple thousand people that watch me on YouTube, the 20,000 people that see my posts on Facebook and whatnot, like add a couple of zeros. And that's what these other creators are doing every day. And every single day, there is more and more of us, which means the reach is going out there. More people are getting influenced. More people are waking up. And the threat to the system and to the establishment is just getting larger and larger and larger. Like, we don't have to react to the NDAA getting passed with this intelligence merger. We need to realize that that is their reaction to us, because the writing is on the wall. All right. The younger demographics, the people that don't even listen to me, they are done. They are done with our not so greatest ally. Like, people do not want this relationship anymore. And, the Trump administration and the Republicans, they could try to say that, oh, it's the left, it's China, it's China. It's no, you guys need to take accountability. We are done with the bullshit. We are done with the corruption. We're done with the money laundering. We're done with the manipulation through our public schools and the mainstream media and our music and our movies. We're done with these wars. We're done with the false flags. Like, we are just done. We're done. And there are so many people that are done that never even heard of me because I don't even fit their demographic. And like, I think about that and I'm just like, wow, like, is the country really cooked or are we winning? You know what I mean? Like, and listen, they got the tech, they got the military, they got the money. They could try to cripple us 6 different ways. But for them to do that, they have to really expose themselves. And not just to the people that they're already exposed to, but they would have to expose themselves from the little support that they have left. And that's the truth. And I don't think that it's the end of free speech at all. I think that they're going to try to silence people like me. I think that they're going to attack free speech. But once they start crossing that line, they're going to lose the support from the people that still believe in them. And that is the realization that I had tonight. And I feel good. And I think that you guys should feel good too, because I think that we are a lot further ahead of the game than we ever realized, and that we realized the other day. And that is why, and listen, I'm not trying to plug this guy. I do not trust this guy. But I was going through some clips. I just stumbled across this, and I'm like, you know what? I want to start the show with this one. Hold on. I'm not going big for him, though. Let's listen to what Vice President J.D. Vance had to say.
I really believe that we have a great deal in common with Europe. And I'm not, yes, the Europeans annoy me sometimes. And yes, I disagree with them on certain issues. But we have to remember that is the cradle of Western civilization. The entire idea of Christian civilization that led to the founding of the United States of America, that was formed in Europe. The cultural bonds, the religious bonds, these things are going to last beyond political disagreements. But I think that Europe, and frankly, I would have said this about America a year ago, but Europe is at risk, I think, of engaging in civilizational suicide. They are unable to, or unwilling, too many countries to control their borders. You see them starting to push back against that, and good, that's a good thing. You see them starting to limit the free speech of their own citizens, even as those citizens are protesting against things like the border invasion that got Donald Trump and a number of European leaders elected. So look, I want Europe to thrive. I want them to be an important ally. Part of that is going to be Europe respecting its own people, respecting its own sovereignty, and America can't do that job for them. If you have a country like Germany, where you have another few million immigrants come in from countries that are totally culturally incompatible with Germany, then it doesn't matter what I think about Europe. Germany will have killed itself, and I hope they don't do that because I love Germany and I want Germany to thrive.
Now, listen, I want you guys to understand, when I hear that and I hear him talk about how Europe is at risk of a cultural suicide over immigration, the analogy that I see is that America is at risk of a cultural suicide over what they're doing right now. And they need to respect their laws. They need to listen to and respect their citizens. And they got to stop trying to push things through, or else the people are going to turn on the government. The people are going to turn on the country. And I really, really believe that. And I think that they know that, and that's why they're pushing through this legislation. That's why they're accelerating everything so fast, is because it's their backs that are against the wall, because they're this close to being exposed, and like really exposed, and not just exposed for current corruption now, but getting exposed for everything. Like, think about everything that's come out with the files. Think about what's come out with 9/11, with JFK. Like it's all like the people are waking up to all of it. And once they realize that it's one cabal, that it's one deep state, that it's one group of a very, very small number of people that are controlling everything and that are making all of this mess to keep us all on the mouse wheel, people are going to start getting off of that mouse wheel. And they're going to start not only demanding change, but demanding accountability. But that's my short, little, brief opening rant. I want to get things started. I want to keep things moving. We have a lot of clips to play. So you know what? Let's have a little fun. Let's see what's gone on with Candace Owens these last couple of days. What do you think? Because I think Candace had a week. Candace had a week, and boy, what a week has it been.
What is Turning Point USA, Erica Franzwey planning now? They're very angry. That is obvious. The influencers are angry because they are losing, and they are losing not because they didn't have enough money, not because they didn't have enough people who were willing to sell their souls and make videos and try to hypnotize the public into believing anything but their own eyes. Well, I noticed something. 3 times I just said, this is very weird. Suddenly, as soon as the Tyler Robinson trial began, these same influencers who have been attacking me are all raising the matter of Sandy Hook. It's very strange. I'll show you this. Seth Dillon, resident liar, Hamptons guy. He writes, the main reason Alex Jones was held liable was not that he questioned an official narrative. It was that he repeatedly and callously made false accusations about specific people. He claimed the Sandy Hook shooting was staged, that the grieving parents were crisis actors, and that they were knowingly participating in fraud. His false claims, made for clicks and fame, were damaging, severe understatement, and led to harassment and threats against grieving innocent people. So his protected opinion defense failed. The First Amendment protects the right to criticize events and to criticize official accounts, but does not provide blanket immunity for defamation. Oh, how interesting. Seth Dillon from the Hamptons. This feels like a bit of foretelling to me. This is how these people operate. You always know what is coming down the pipeline because they just start signaling. Today, Tim Pool tweets, if you want to get amplified on YouTube and X, all you need to do is claim the official story of Charlie Kirk's assassination is a cover-up and there's a conspiracy. Why is social media amplifying this so much? Why does big tech want this narrative to be front and center? I don't think they do. I think the majority of people believe this, Tim. He goes on, Alex Jones made claims about Sandy Hook and he was destroyed. His company was sold off to try to humiliate him. What is the difference here? You can claim one story is true, but the other results in your company's total annihilation. YouTube
I did it again. Wow, I really did it again. Angela. Yeah, that's so funny. My bad. All right. Anyway, I think I could do this again. All right. So I'm going to stop this clip right here because what Candace Owens is saying is 100% correct. Now, the way that they're using the Sandy Hook and Alex Jones analogy to compare to her, they are laying the groundwork hypothetically to attack Candace Owens, but it's not going to be isolated to just Candace. They're going to be going after all of the creators. They're going to be going after all of us. And it's not just going to be because of the Charlie Kirk assassination. It's going to be because of the legislation that they just passed. It's going to be because other things that are going on, especially with the war with Iran. And it's also going to be because of whatever they have planned next. I see this whole situation between Candace Owens and Erica Kirk and TPUSA as like a metaphor for what's really happening between the American people and the American government. Sorry about that, guys. I'll make sure I don't do that again. Let me keep going.
YouTube has rules around conspiracy. Specifically, they restrict conspiracy claims and amplify what they call authoritative news sources. Why is YouTube boosting these videos in the algorithm? Why does the machine want this narrative so badly? Contrast this with COVID. You'd get demonetized instantly if you talked about COVID in the early days. We couldn't even read news reports about out of China that discussed the basics. He's basically saying, state, where are you? Where are you, state? What is the state going to do about the fact that people are using their common sense? So now we are going to tie it to children being murdered in Connecticut. And he wasn't the only one. Again, this is all happening. Tyler Robinson trial. They're all talking about Sandy Hook. Blake Neff was on a Twitter space, and he similarly and specifically compared me to Alex Jones and Sandy Hook. This is a talking point that is being distributed, and it's a dangerous one. Take a listen to what he had to say.
It's a very dangerous talking point. And I don't know if I think I left this part out when I was repeating what I said while I was muted. But, you know, what she was saying back to COVID is, you know, Mark Zuckerberg came out on Rogan a couple of years ago saying that during COVID, that the Biden administration called him personally, demanding censorship, demanding that he takes down accounts and posts about people that were going against the narrative. And you guys got to realize, if they did it a couple of years ago, just a few short years ago, about one event and one situation, they're going to do it again. So just keep that in mind. But we'll keep going with Candace for a minute.
Nothing compares remotely to the fact that Candace Owens has spent a sustained 10 months making effectively every episode of her show finding some new way to target Erica, target Turning Point, target other people who are in the Turning Point universe, target random family members of theirs, as happened at times, for 10 months in pursuit of a conspiracy theory that has literally never had anything to back it up. Like it inspires comment and notice because there really is essentially nothing like it that I can recall in my lifetime. Like even as a comparison, even the stuff with the Sandy Hook parents, that was the stuff a few people ran with. And I just don't think it ever, like Alex Jones got sued for it. I don't think Alex Jones made that the only subject of the show for a 10-month period. And that's what's happened here. I just have never seen anything like it in my life.
Again, they are priming the public to see that this is just like Sandy Hook. This is no different. I've never seen, it's actually almost worse than what Alex Jones did because he didn't go on for 10 months. You know what, Blake? I don't think Alex Jones lost a child at Sandy Hook. He probably would have gone harder in the paint.
Now, first off, like just listening to Blake Neff, oh my God, he's so monotonous. You know, his voice, the fact that you could just see through all of his bullshit. And whenever you got to ask him a real question about something substantial that could actually bring something to the table, the guy's got no memory. Can't remember nothing. I don't know. I don't remember. Wouldn't tell you if I knew. But then when it comes to talking points and it comes to narratives, guy's got a lot to say. You know what I mean? Like he's real good with a script. But when it comes to, you know, off the top of his head in a real debate, you know, under some real pressure, you know, all of a sudden he clams up. And that's why I think that it's very important that when Tyler Robinson goes to trial, that every single person that's connected with TPUSA is put on the stand and cross-examined, from Blake Neff, Dan Flood, Brian Harpole, Terrell Farnsworth, Mikey McCoy, all of them. They should all be put under oath on the stand, and it should be public. It should be public. Not like when Howard Lutnick gets to testify or give a deposition behind the scenes, off camera, not even under oath. Like, no, fuck that. For the Tyler Robinson trial, we all need to see it. We need to hear it. We need to know that it's real. But hold on. There's a little more on this clip, and then we're going to get some other ones.
When you know someone that's involved, you go harder. Okay. That's just the reality of things. I care deeply. Okay. Because I came up along Charlie. And if Charlie's not safe in the political space, neither am I. Certainly not with you guys speaking like this. That also was the point of the NCRI report. That report, is that going to be used as evidence? Look, harassment, that is what they took Alex Jones down for. He said something, which he has apologized before and said was wrong. He speculated that the children didn't actually die that day. And then they came after him for emotional harassment, stress, whatever the claims were. And they sued him and won for $1.4 billion, effectively ending his InfoWars platform, suing him into bankruptcy. And I want to be clear, they're also putting people on their show to say, Erica's just like the parents at Sandy Hook. This is the priming. They all know something that we don't know. They're not all kind of going back to Sandy Hook for no reason. Here is Viva Frey on the Charlie Kirk Show. Take a look.
But real quick, I just want to point out that there is a really, really big difference between the tragedy that happened at Sandy Hook and what's happening now with the criticism of Turning Point USA and other people that are involved with the Charlie Kirk case, or that are being speculated about being involved with everything that happened. And that is, with the Sandy Hook case, Alex Jones, although he was, a large influencer and he had a large following, I don't think that people outside of his base were really questioning what happened. I don't even know if his entire base was going along with what he was saying that was questioning it. But there's a huge difference between that, and I'm not even just talking about the tragedies themselves, but I'm talking about the reach and the influence and the people that think it anyway. Because when it comes to the Charlie Kirk assassination, at this point in time, I don't think anybody believes that Tyler Robinson acted alone. Even Paramount Tactical said that he thinks somebody else was probably involved and that he didn't doubt it. So there is a huge contrast there that, like TPUSA, they can try to lay this groundwork down and they can make these comparisons, but there is no comparison. There is no comparison because there are a lot of people out there that can't even stand Candace Owens and don't take her serious, that still believe that Tyler Robinson either didn't do it or that he wasn't a lone shooter. And that's the difference. And that's something that I really want you guys to think about. And I think everybody should think about.
Listen.
We're living in a world where people have sort of gotten back into the realm of the Alex Jones InfoWars, Sandy Hook level psychotic conspiracy everywhere, where now people are saying, all right, I believe everything we're being told is a lie, so I'm going to not believe anything except for that which I've convinced myself of already. I don't know if Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger. I don't know if he was on the roof and he was the one who fired the gun. I know what the preliminary evidence looks like right now, and I know it's being adduced at the preliminary hearing.
You guys notice that even this guy is saying that he doesn't know that it was Tyler on the roof that pulled the trigger. Like even this guy, somebody that's pushing the narrative, that's helping to lay the groundwork against Candace, won't even definitively say that he believes the narrative. To me, that is very telling. Like, this isn't somebody on Fox News. This is somebody that's on the Charlie Kirk Show right now with Blake Neff and Andrew Colvett.
But the insane conspiracy theories that are being floated, that are implicating everyone and anyone involved, that are unsubstantiated and unfalsifiable in their vagueness. I mean,
I can't listen to this jerk off. I'm not even going to finish this clip. We know where it's going. I played all this the other day, but I just want to stop it there because I want to say, just because people are criticizing Erica Kirk and TPUSA and think that they are complete scumbags that have betrayed Charlie after his death and have done a complete 180 with TPUSA, That is not the same as implicating them with his assassination. Me personally, I am not in any way at this time even speculating that they were directly involved. Because in my mind, what they've done since his death is it's just as bad. It's just as bad. Like when you really think about it, like they've taken this man's life work, everything that he worked for, everything that he achieved, everything that he hoped to accomplish, and they just pissed all over it. And for what? For what? For money? To get on camera? To sit in his chair? For the deep state? For the government? For a foreign nation? Because nothing that they've done has been for Charlie. Nothing that they've done has been for his cause and what he stood for. Like, you want to talk about who's really grifting when it comes to Charlie Kirk? It's Erica and it's TPUSA. They are the biggest grifters of them all. And that's the reason. Like literally, Candace could just bow out and just never talk about this again. She could never do an episode on YouTube again. And nobody's minds are going to change about Erica and TPUSA. It's like the damage is done. And it's not any damage that was done by Candace Owens. It's not damage that was done by Baron Coleman or me or anybody else that's covered this or made content about this. They did it to themselves. The same way that JD Vance was talking about that he was afraid that Europe was committing cultural suicide. Erica Kirk and TPUSA committed cultural suicide for TPUSA. And that is a fact. That is a fact. It's undeniable, you know, and they don't have to, nobody has to make any implications or say, oh, they think that they did it or they were involved. Like, throw all that out the window. If you're one of the people that's thinking that, like, just like pretend that you're a part of a jury, right? That's not getting admitted into evidence. And just think about what they've done since he died. Think about what Charlie Kirk stood for. Everything he worked for, everything that he said, the people that he supported. And think about everything TPUSA has done. Pretend that Charlie's still alive. Pretend that he's still alive. Pretend that he survived and that he's still home recovering and that they just took the ball and kept going. You know, you still come to the same conclusion when it comes to Erica Kirk and TPUSA. I mean, listen, I'm not going to speak for you guys. You know, I'm sorry. I still come to the same conclusion. If Charlie Kirk would have survived and he'd have been home recovering, I would feel not just as bad for him because he's not with us anymore, but it wouldn't be that far off. In fact, to be honest, it might even be worse because at least Charlie Kirk doesn't have to see it. You know, he got to die believing whatever he believed about Erica and the people at Turning Point USA. Because if had he survived and he was still here and he was watching everything that they did, I think it would have killed him anyway. And that's just how I feel about the situation. Anyway, you know, I just want to take a second to talk about last night. If you guys didn't watch, I did a stream with Ali Top Files on a group panel. We had Christine Feckety, American Discourse News, Mitch Snow, Louisiana Girl from X, and Stu Peters popped in, which I did not see coming. I did not know that he was going to come. Ali said she was just as surprised. I'm not even really sure who sent him the link. I'm assuming it was either Mitch or somebody else that was invited that couldn't make it. But I do have a clip here that I want to play from that show. And if you guys didn't watch it, oh my God, you got to check it out because this was great. But here's Mitch. Here's Stu Peters.
In the back channels and with people who he trusted, Charlie was communicating that he also too didn't view this as, anything that he could morally stand by. He voiced that opposition to the president, which point he was apparently shouted down. So it's like, the Iran conflict, the Venezuelan interdiction, the imperialist agenda, the bullying, the donor class, all of this stuff was stuff that he was really then publicly starting to talk about in the weeks before his death. And then obviously, so the NDAA, the Venezuela thing, going into Iran, the girls' school, all of this stuff. That is stuff where when Charlie Kirk said that he was leaving that cause, millions and millions of Zoomers would have left that cause right along with him. And when we see this pipeline of actors who are willing to read the lines from the script, Charlie Kirk was no longer willing to read them. And so he was dismissed as, part of the cast effectively. And now you have a group of people who are willing to read them. See Nick Fuentes, Dan Bongino, Jack Posobiec, all the people around Turning Point USA who are grabbing for that access to power and influence and, prominence and shekels and like all of the benefits that go along with it.
I almost did it again. I know there's going to be a couple comments because they're going to see my mouth moving and no sound, but I caught myself. I told you I'd be more careful, and I was. But anyway, as I was saying, I want to stop it right there because he made my point for me right there. The access to power. It's not just about money. It's about access to power. Okay? When Charlie got killed, okay, when he left the board, it created a power vacuum. And all these people that had authority, that had influence, that were higher ups at TPUSA, including Erica, they all got sucked into that power vacuum. And then once you're there and once you're in the room with all these other powerful people, they're not going to be able, or hypothetically speaking, Charlie, he was able to deal with these people. He was able to navigate through it. When President Trump did something that Charlie didn't like, Charlie had the confidence and the power to be able to call him, to be able to show up at the White House, to be able to say, what are you doing? He had that power himself. You understand? Now, once Charlie's gone, you have all these different people that want that power. They want what Charlie had. But the difference is they don't have that level of assertiveness. They don't have that authority. They don't have that influence. So now what happens is you go from Charlie Kirk being in a position of power where he can influence these people and he can influence us to now the people that are stepping in and they have access to that power. The power is being used against them to do the bidding of other people that Charlie was against. Not that he was against the people, but he was against the bidding. Because, and this is the difference, Charlie Kirk was a real Christian. He believed in Jesus. He was never going to sell himself out. He was never going to put the establishment before his faith. These other people, not so much. And now they have access to this power. They're in these rooms. They're going to these parties. They're around these people. And they are just towing the party line. Whereas Charlie, he wasn't towing the party line. He was trying to influence and push the party to make sure that it stayed on the right trajectory. And as we all know today, we're not on the right trajectory now. Look at everything that's happened since Charlie's died. The files got covered up. Then they some of them came out, but all in all, they got covered up. We ended up going to war with Iran. Now we're seeing this legislation, and there's probably a list of 10 different things that I could sit here on ChatGPT or AI or Google and muster up that Charlie probably would have been against that have happened since he died. And it's just, and like I said, it doesn't mean that specific individuals were involved with taking him out. It doesn't mean that there's this vast conspiracy that they're all in on it. You're going to have a lot of people that just have this access now. They've been elevated in a way, and it can be very, very addicting. Now, I want to move on to another group stream that I did.
Shoving American space in it.
Did I lose my timestamps? Oh, if I lost my timestamps, I'll be so pissed. Hold on, let me see. Oh, this would suck. You know what? I'm just going to play it. So the day that the legislation was passed, Nate, Valhalla VFT. Oh, and by the way, today is Nate's birthday. It's his big 40. So do me a favor. Just put a VFT in the chat to say happy birthday to Valhalla. I don't know if he's going to be watching this. I'm sure it's not his birthday. He's out. But in case he catches it later, do me a favor and show him a little love because he has been showing me a lot of love lately. And I just want to play a couple of clips from the other stream and show these guys some love too, because they've all been supporting me lately and I really appreciate it. And they've had a lot of good stuff to say lately.
The everyday Americans, like all of us watching this right now, they're just like, watch this. We'll just shove your fucking nose in it, and there's nothing you can do it. Watch us. We'll put it on goddamn TV. We'll put the vote on TV for all of you to watch and shove your stupid faces in it.
Yeah, I have a morbid thought about all of this. One, of course, everything Jesse said, the AI bubble, right? And I want to add to that. The AI bubble is going to either grow or is going to pop. But when it comes to the AI part, when it comes to like surveillance, right, it's going to be, in my opinion, an enforcement of what they surveil. And then it's going to be control. And as American people and as the government, there's certain things that are in our Constitution that they can't do to us. But
they don't care anymore.
Yeah, they don't care anymore. That's why it's so bad.
So now that another country is right, not another country is occupying us officially. Everything is out the window.
That's
so
a good
if
point,
they need to knock somebody off, they can just do it, and nobody's going to say anything because they did it. And not us. So non-American people are now able to use their military on American people.
And they don't have to abide by the Constitution, to your point.
Because they're not Americans.
Yeah.
And I mean, they obviously.
And again, this comes back to Christianity. And the reason that I believe that Charlie Kirk was truly killed. I don't believe that he was killed by Tyler Robinson over leftist politics. I believe that Charlie Kirk was killed for his faith in Jesus. And I truly believe that faith in Jesus is the greatest threat to the establishment. Because when you really believe in God and you really believe in Jesus and you really follow the scripture, you are not going to be able to be compromised by the establishment. And that makes you a liability. And in the case of Charlie Kirk, it makes you a threat. And I think that that is also part of the reason why that we see them accelerating all of these plans. And they're not just going to try to attack our freedom of speech, but I think that they're going to try to manipulate Christianity to try to make sure that people lean a certain way. And I think that that is what we've seen from Turning Point USA since Charlie Kirk has been killed. And I think that we're going to see a lot more of it. And it's both concerning and disturbing at the same time. Hold on, I got another clip here that I want to play. I got these all mixed up right now. And guys, thank you for the super chats. I see them all. I'm going to take a break in a little bit and read some of them. I just want to get through these clips first. Where there's a mutual thing, like it went from mutually beneficial with certain policies to now mutually invested with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very big difference. The analogy that I made before is like, imagine you're like a young guy and you're very successful and you've got a couple $1 million, you've got a house, you've got everything, and oh shit. This is not the clip that I wanted to play, but I'm going to play it for you guys anyway, because I think when I was checking the clips, I wanted to play something that Nate was going to say. I just played the wrong one first. I played the Mr. Let Go one, but Nate said something really good that I wanted to touch on. I think this is my response. Hold on. Let me see. I'm definitely going to play this clip anyway, regardless though, because I like what I said. If you watch the stream, then you've already heard it. But hold on, let me see. No, let me go back to Nate's first. Let me go back to Nate's real quick. Hold on. Here we go. And then I'll still play my response after. Well,
what this now does.
That's not the only reason though, because if we give it to them and then theirs gets shot down or stolen, then we're still compromised. Yeah,
that's you're one step ahead of me. So that's what we're going to get. Our
he
greatest
was-
ally, to Bezos' point, he said it right before I did, has a very bad history and pattern of taking our tech and then selling it to our enemies, aka Russia. So, to Bezos' point, which I think you were going with this, Baze, it's not just that we're giving them the technology. We pretty much just gave all of our enemies the technology.
Enemies,
right? Isn't that where you were going with that, Baze?
Well, no, I wasn't even going the trader route. Like they were going to straight Jonathan Pollard and just give it away. I was
No,
saying
they'll sell
more-
it.
No, not even sell it. But like if like let's say they're using one of our highest tech and fighter jets or whatever, and it gets shot down, and then it falls in enemy territory, and then they get it. Now they
Reverse
have
engineer
access
it.
to it. Yes.
Mhm.
Caught myself. All right, now the clip that I almost accidentally played was me comparing this legislation as like a marriage, that we're officially marrying our not so greatest ally. And my analogy is, imagine you are a young guy that's very well off. You've got money, you've got a good job, you own a house, and you have this hot young girl or hot girl that you're dating, but she's kind of an alcoholic. She's pretty toxic, and she's always getting you into trouble. Now, a smart individual would just break it off. But every now and then you get these guys, that they just think that they're going to make it work. They think that they're going to be able to control the situation. They think it's all going to work out. Or maybe they get leveraged in some way. Maybe they get the girl pregnant. In the case of some of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, especially with those files, maybe they got like a little Epstein baby, and now they got to get hitched. And now all of a sudden you go from just dating a toxic girl to marrying one. And now you don't just have to worry about pissing off all your relatives that can't stand the woman and don't understand why you're with her. But now she has access to your bank account. She has some sort of ownership with your house. If you're going to buy a boat in the future, she gets half of that too. And that is my fear with how I perceive this deal. I don't know. Chat, let me know what you guys think. If you think that is an accurate analogy. And while you guys do that, I'm going to play the next clip. Oh, hold on. Yo, I went all out of order with these clips from the golden. Sorry about that. Elevator in 2015, and all the ups and downs, all the times that he had all of us behind him rallying and all this and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like, this is it. This is how he's going to be remembered.
And the way he'll think about it, just because of how his brain is he's going to be like, I was the greatest, the greatest president Israel's ever known. And like, he'll actually say that to himself and be like, I did a good thing,
and that's going to make,
sure.
make him want to double down. That's going to make him want to double down.
The greatest president they ever had.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
You're not wrong. So,
wow.
Now,
wow.
It's just, I don't want to get into this yet because I don't want to get into like the deep left versus right political side of this. Yes,
dude, it's all WWE. It's all bullshit.
It is.
Throw it all out. If you weren't like one of those people that's like me, that kind of felt like there was people pulling the strings and that like it was all WWE and coordinated or choreographed to some extent, even if the politicians really hated each other. At the end of the day, when did we ever see anybody get held accountable? When did Nancy Pelosi ever get charged with the insider trading? When did Hillary Clinton with the emails or anything else? And that brings me to my next point, my next piece of news. So apparently Nancy Pelosi has announced that she's going to finally retire. Nancy Pelosi, everybody, she's going to retire. And Trump said that is going to be great for our country. And I happen to disagree. How is that great for our country? That she gets to just retire, on her own terms. After all the years of corruption, all the years of the insider trading. Like, there's literally an app that you could download to follow her and her husband's trades so that you can make money, because apparently they're like better than Warren Buffett with investing in stocks. But it's great, you know, according to Trump, it's great that she just gets to retire, she get a pension, get to live out the rest of her days and spend the money and hang out. And guess what? She'll get to keep trading. No, what I think would be great for America is if there was finally some fucking accountability. You know, if Trump would have kept his word, if he would have stopped the corruption, if we would have had a real Doge effort and we would have really seen what was going on, and they opened up those books and they started locking some of these people up and holding them accountable for what they've done to our country. But no, that's not what Trump decided to do. What did Trump decide to do? No, Trump said, hold my beer, because now that I know what all you guys have done, I could do it too, and I could take it to another level that's going to get you. I'm going to make so much money. Trump and his family have been making so much money that it makes people like Nancy Pelosi jealous. And they can't say anything because they're all guilty. You know, that is basically what Trump has done. And it's destroying our country. It's destroying the morale. And that's what's so crazy. And that's why they're going to have to try to attack our freedom of speech, because it's not just the Charlie Kirk case that people are waking up about and that the news is getting out. The cat's out of the bag. It's all of it. It's all of it. The insider trading, the money laundering, the trafficking, the freaking false flags. Like the jig is up. We know what's going on. And like I said, Trump was finally in the position to stop it. And for whatever reason, despite all of his promises and everything that he said over the years, he said, hold my beer and watch this. And it just sucks. It just sucks, because I was one of the schmucks that believed in this guy. You know, I believed, I fell for it. I fell for it. And I realized I fell for it when he said, you guys are still talking about Epstein. And I swear to God, right there and then, before I even realized it, because as soon as I heard it, I just started doing my own research. But right there and then, when he said that, it's like my life was dedicated to exposing this shit. Like, there was no going back. I was never going to get on the mouse wheel again. I was never going to get a regular job. I didn't know how I was going to make a living. I didn't know how I was going to make a change. But right there and then, I decided that nothing is more important than exposing this shit and letting people know what's going on. And I was like very surprised, you know, because I wasn't big on YouTube. I didn't even know what a super chat was. I saw Ian Carroll on a live and I'm like sending supers, trying to give him tips on stuff he's already made videos about, you know, which in hindsight is really funny. But at the time, I thought that I had some, like, you know what I mean? Like, I thought I had the goods, and I did have the goods, but he had the goods too. And so did a lot of other people. And now, you know, here we are 7, 8 months, no, more than that, almost a year later. Oh, damn, time is going by. But almost a year later, and not only am I in the game too, but there are other people already coming in behind me and under me. Like, this is a movement. This is a movement. You know what I mean? Like we have their backs against the walls, and they know it. It's us that I feel like didn't realize it yet. And that was like the epiphany that I had today. And that's why I'm feeling really good. And I think that you guys should too. Oh man, my live is getting nukes right now. Yeah, it's so funny. It's so funny just watching the chart. It's like my views, like in the beginning of the live, they're just going up and up and up. And then all of a sudden I say the wrong thing, and then it just flattens out. It just flattens out. And it's funny too, because I'm playing the clips where this happened the other day, like live, like, oh my God. I got to find the, you know, I'm not even going to find the clip, but if you guys watch the live, you'll know that there was a part where we actually pulled up the analytics because we went from a certain amount of views per minute and then it just dropped and we just, you know, it just stopped climbing. And now it's happening to me too. And this is what I mean. Like, this is what they're going to do. This is what they're going to do. They're going to punish me through the algorithm, me and other content creators that talk about this stuff. They're going to do everything they can to try to get it out. And the reason they're going to try to do that is because I'm telling the truth and they know it. and they don't want people to know the truth. They don't want people to know the truth about the corruption. They don't want them to know the truth about the files. They don't want them to know the truth about JFK. But I'm not even gonna go there. The more that I rattle off all of the things that they don't want us to know the truth about, the worse that it's probably going to get. So I'm just gonna take a break for a minute and spend some time reading these super chats, and then we'll continue with the show. Because there is a lot to talk about. We are just getting started, and tonight is going to be a lot of fun. I'm probably going to do a members only after party too, just so you guys know. So if you want to support the channel, you could become a member today, and you could see what goes on, because the members only lives are a lot of fun. Awakening, $5. Thank you very much. A small thank you for an ad-free evening. Bayes is based. Yeah, well, what happened, I was getting people that were hitting me up that don't have YouTube Premium, and they were saying that the ads were just so monotonous. And I'm like, that's not good. Like, that's going to hurt my reach too. And like, who wants to like sit here? Like, I'll be in the middle of saying something important or playing a clip, and then you get an ad. Like, that sucks. So yeah, for the lives, every time I just got to like write it down somewhere so I can remember. I'm not going to monetize the lives while they're live. Like, I'll turn the ads back on. And even then, I was looking, because I've been doing a little editing on the lives, like just cleaning them up, trimming out some of the fat, especially like when I make certain mistakes and there's like, periods of silence or whatnot, or I'm like sitting there trying to find my next clip. Like, I just try to like trim all that out. And I was looking at where they put the ads, and I'm like, holy shit, they're putting ads in my videos every 2 minutes. Like, why are they doing this? Like, that's not beneficial, because at some point you put too many in there and nobody wants to watch it. Like, it sucks. So I've been clipping them out. So when I put out videos, whether it's a video or a live that gets published after I'm done, once it processes and I see where they place the ads, then I just start deleting them out, and I just let them run every 20 minutes or so instead of whatever the hell they're trying to do. So just so you guys know for the future, I want to try to, make the watches as good as possible without all the bullshit and the interruptions. We got Tesla Trend, $10. Thank you very much. Thank you for an ad-free show, and thank you for the live last night with Stu, Mitch, and the others. You rock, and we appreciate all you do. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you too. And yeah, like I said, I'm gonna work on the ads. Critter, thank you very much for gifting a membership. Always appreciated. Beanzo, $2. Thank you very much. Oh, nope, same one. LMG Philanthropy, 10 gems. Thank you very much. Oh, press F. Is that supposed to be the sound? Is that why you sent that? That's funny. Critter, happy Friday, Bayes. Hello, Bayes community. Love all y'all. Kristen, thank you very much. And yes, we call our community the Light Squad, just so you guys know. Am I repeating myself? Oh, no, we got a couple of these. Thank you for all the gems. I appreciate you. Tesla Trend again, you are muted. Yeah, I know. Don't worry. I've done that a couple of times. I'm trying to be more conscious of it. Tony, $5. This is all cover, distraction, and chaos for the coming planetary disasters. Investigate that. Joe's was framed by the CIA. O'Keefe exposed him. Yes, I know about some of what you're talking about, and I will look into the rest. We got Cubby, big super chat. Thank you very much. $50. Hey, Jimmy, my son. That's funny. That's an inside joke. Keep telling the truth. They are tripping up on their own lies, praying the truth comes out. Can't believe anyone believes TPUSA in their lives. They have totally made a mockery of Charlie's legacy. Love you. Yeah, you're 100% right. And, I think I did a pretty decent job breaking that down a couple minutes ago. But yeah, it's disgusting. It's disgusting what they've done. And like I said, even if Charlie survived, if he saw what they were doing, I think that in and of itself would have killed him. I really believe that. Beanzo again, $2. Thank you very much. I loved last night's live. Mitch Snow is so funny. Yeah, it's funny too. I was actually talking to Mitch Snow on the phone today before I started this live. And he And as funny as he is, like, I feel bad too. I was telling him this because, like, I didn't realize, like, just how much hell this guy went through. Like, he's gone through a lot of shit, and I don't know exactly what his situation is, but he definitely believes that he's in some level of danger. So I'm hoping that he's wrong and that that's not the case. But from the interactions that I've had, I've spoken to him 3 times now, and he's been a very kind dude. I like him a lot. Same one. I keep doing that. Sorry. More gems. Thank you very much. Another big super chat, $100 from Tex. Thank you very much. I'm 30 myself. You have some of us Gen Z folks sprinkled in here. A lobby issue. Could reform fix it? Only allowing unions to have the ability and banning companies to have lobbyists. Regarding free speech, with all problems, they have a solution. What would be yours? First and foremost, as far as elections go, we should not have any foreign money. I think that we need to take foreign money out of the equation. I think we need to get rid of dual citizenship altogether. If whether it's donations, public office, law enforcement, any power of authority, it should be American citizens. Also, another take that I have that's a little controversial because it would have some effects on the economy. I don't believe that foreigners should own land in America. I also don't believe that corporations should, or these giant like money management firms. I mean, you see all the loopholes that these companies have to avoid paying taxes. And one of the big ways that they do it is investing in real estate. So like they're like double screwing us there, because they're screwing us in the sense that they don't have to pay the taxes. And then they're screwing us by buying up all the freaking land and all of our houses so that they can rent them out to small businesses and to to residents and regular citizens. And I think that that's bullshit. I like I said, I feel like this is America. Every piece of land should be owned by American citizens. Like there are so many loopholes and so many different things. And yeah, it's the lobbyists that set it all up. And that's why it feels like it's rigged. That's why it feels like it's fixed. That's why it's so hard for, people even my age and especially younger to be able to live out the American dream and buy homes for themselves. It's all corruption. And a lot of the corruption is legal. And it really sucks when you realize that, and you realize that instead of getting people in power that could make these changes to make things go back to the way they were, the way that they're supposed to be, so that we could all live the American dream, they're just lobbying and passing laws to make it even worse and give more of our country away. Now, like, they're not just giving away our land, they're giving away our intelligence, they're giving away our tech, they're giving away our weapons, and they're giving away our troops. Because we're fighting a war right now that the American people did not want, did not ask for, and we're not in danger. Let's face it. And which troops have been getting killed in this war? It's ours. It's our kids. And it's bullshit. I'm against all of it. And like I said, that's exactly why I'm doing what I do. And I'm not going to stop. Keats, $2. You need a red light on the mute button. Yes, I have one. That's how I notice. Sometimes I'm not looking at the red light, though. I'm looking at the camera. Amy, $5. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Texas property manager, 1,000 gems. Thank you very much. Another big super chat, $50. Jess, thank you very much. I voted for Donald J. Trump in 2016 and 2020. After Butler, I didn't trust him. For the first time in my life, I didn't vote in 2024. I didn't follow Charlie Kirk, but I knew about him through Candace Owens. My heart sank on September 10th. Felt so sad and scared for this country. Christ is king. Love you, Young B. And I love you too. And I love this comment. And, I got to tell you, I've said before, I was not really a Charlie Kirk fan myself. I didn't follow politics that much. I voted for Trump in 2016 and 2024. I didn't vote in 2020 because I had health issues and other things going on. And living in New York, I didn't really think it made much of a difference anyway, just saying. But as far as Charlie Kirk goes, any time I would see Charlie Kirk, I would see like these hot takes and clips on like Instagram or TikTok. And sometimes he came off a little smug. And I really just kind of put him in the same category as some of these other conservative influencers that are just complete shills. And it wasn't until after he died, because at that point I was already doing my research that I was talking about earlier that started with the files. And, you know, I did a very long and extensive deep dive into Charlie and his content and what he really stood for. And I realized that a lot of those clips that I'd been a little judgmental about him for in the past, that they were taken out of context. And I think they were taken out of context on purpose. I still believe, you know, even now, that whether Charlie knew it or not, that some of those people asking questions, I think some of it was staged. You know, Hunter Kozak and seeing what happened with him makes me really believe that too. And I think that it was done on purpose to help drive the wedge between the left and the right and, you know, just push the movement for the conservatives. I think that that happened with him. And I think that that happens with a lot of these events where, you know, you're on social media and, you know, you see one of these influencers and somebody comes and asks a question and they make a fool out of them. I think a lot of that is manufactured just for propaganda. But anyway, once I got past that and I started like watching what he was really about and watching full episodes of his shows, not only did I understand the context there, but I got to witness the transformation that started after October 7th, and just like seeing certain debates and interviews where like you could really see like things going on in his head while he was listening to other people and start to change his mind, or at least open his mind up to a couple of things. And yeah, it was an experience. Tex again, $50. Thank you very much. That's another interesting point. As I learn, I understand things are moving fast, but how and why are things changing so quickly? Would someone catch me up to speed, please? This is an iceberg of info, and I feel like I'm seeing just the beginning. Yeah, it sounds like you're having your moment. It sounds like you're having your moment. And we all do. We all do. We all have that like awakening moment where you just like feel like you're in the Matrix and you realize that this world is not what you thought it was, and that our politics really feel like WWE, that like even if these people don't like each other, that behind the scenes they answer to higher people that are working in unison, and there are just certain lines that they're not going to cross. And it's like a game of tennis where the ball just goes back and forth, and a lot of it is just to herd us all into a certain direction. And it's not just with our politics, it's with our music, with our television, with our movies. It's with everything. And it really sucks. And I mean, man, you want to start going down some of these rabbit holes? Like I said, I've been making content on here since December. I made my first video. And you want to start watching some of my, I'm not like just trying to plug myself, but if you want to email me, actually, let me put my email here in the chat so you guys have it. It's realbayesteam@gmail.com. And if anybody is just waking up right now, just email me and I'll point you in the right direction. Whatever questions you have, you know, I'll get back to you. Nikki, new member, thank you very much. Welcome. Lilyflower, $10, no comment. Thank you very much. Truth Prevail, $5. Thank you very much. Found your show through seeing you on Nate's show a few times. You got some great stuff, man. In other words of Charlie, keep going, Max. Yo, 100%. 100%. And I'm in a good mood right now. Like, you got to see, sometimes I get really fired up and I go on some rants. Yeah, you'll see. You'll see. Like I said, I'm in a good mood. I'm trying to like keep things positive, but yeah, sometimes I go off and then I really put on a show. Ellie, $5. Thank you very much. You live on LI, right? Check out Babylon. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm not going to get into it right now because I do live on Long Island, but there was a lot of shenanigans that went on. A lot of parties that involve certain people in law enforcement. I am very, very well aware. Like, there's so much. There's so much. $2. Wait, what? Beach? Oh, Beach for Jesus. Thank you very much. We could raise up our collective voice. Nate's B-Day. Wait, NCK. If you're talking about Nate, it's Nate's birthday. I know that. But anyway, guys, thank you for the supers. And let's get back to some clips. And I appreciate all the generosity from everybody. I really do. It makes a really big difference. And I'm hoping that in the near future, I could grow my channel to a point where I could just like turn the supers off and just afford it where, you know what I mean? And I'm getting there and the day will come. But for now, I I appreciate it. All right, now. And, as you guys know, I titled this Free Speech Friday. And I got Free Speech Friday from Ian Carroll. Ian Carroll used to go live every Friday. That was how I started watching him. And then he stopped. And I thought it sucked. I thought I was waiting a couple weeks for him to come back. And then at some point, I got tired of waiting. And I decided that I was going to unofficially take over for Free Speech Friday. So that's why a lot of times I'll put him on the thumbnail. It's more of like a homage. And I always try to find at least one clip when I do to play of him. And that's where I keep why am I losing my timestamps? What the hell is going on? All right, but you know what? It's Ian. So we could just play a little more than I was intended because I know where it was. I just don't know where it started. All right, so here we go.
And if that dispositive evidence ever existed, it was probably destroyed after 2006, 2007.
Now, he's talking about the files right now, and he's referencing what J.D. Vance said about it on the Joe Rogan podcast the other day. I actually covered this last week.
Now, of all the things that J.D. Vance said, the part that may have unfortunately been the most true and at the same time the most deflective is that all the evidence was destroyed back in 2009 when he was first arrested and given his sweetheart deal. And JD is hiding a lie behind the truth. Certainly, the cover-up started as soon as the journalists and cops started sniffing around back in 2006 and 2007. Certainly, the original investigation was obstructed from the inside at basically every level. They never raided the New Mexico ranch where much of the worst abuse likely happened. They also never raided the island until August of 2019, after Epstein was already dead in his jail cell. When they raided his New York townhouse in 2019, they took photos of all of these binders of discs that appeared to be video and photo blackmail material, but they didn't actually confiscate the material. They said that it wasn't within the scope of their warrants, so they photographed the CDs and hard drives, and then they just left them all there. When they went back with the new warrant a few days later, it was all gone and didn't resurface until some of it was provided by Epstein's own attorney. So the vast majority of the story was already covered up before it even reached official investigation or documentation. All the worst crimes and abuse exists only in the victim's memory, haunting them and all of our collective consciousness forever, pretty much. And J.D. Vance may be right about that. But like a good politician, he is artfully avoiding the point. Because the point is that there is more than enough in those files, the files that we all have, to open many investigations today. There's copious evidence to hold dozens and dozens of perpetrators accountable. There are countless leads that could be dug into, literally, like New Mexico AG is apparently doing right now at Zorro Ranch, where they are allegedly investigating the property finally, but the Trump administration is standing in their way. Furthermore, there's the obvious issue that many of Epstein's darkest and most significant friends are still holding the levers of power to this day, not the least of whom being Peter Thiel, who Epstein communicated with quite a bit. He even bankrolled Thiel's venture capital firm, Valar Ventures, for at least a few years. Although, ultimately, Peter Thiel is gay, and Epstein was targeting the straights. So if that network did get blackmail on Thiel, it's a lot more likely that it was the CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, Mike Jeffries, who is running a gay sex trafficking ring for decades out of Leslie Wexner's other company. But they cover that one up way faster and way tighter. So we'll probably...
All right, now I want to stop here for a second, and I want to let you guys know, if you're not aware, Ian Carroll, he's come up with two apps. Well, one is an app and one is a software. The first one is the Buyer app, which is amazing. You literally just go to the grocery store, scan things on the barcode. You'll find out what's in it, if it's healthy, and more important, well, not more importantly, but just as important, who owns it, which will let you know where your money is going. Because the way you shop, the way you spend your money is also a form of protest. And it's also a form of support, obviously. So knowing the products that you buy and who owns it and where you're going and like who those owners lobby and what they lobby for, it all makes a difference. It all makes a difference. Like, who would think that even like the type of cereal that you buy, and I hope you guys don't eat cereal because it's pretty much terrible for you at this point with all the glyphosate and other crap. But you know, using it as an example, even the cereal that you buy could make a difference. If you get enough people to just stop buying certain products and start buying others for all these little things, whether it's cereal or fruit or where you get your meat from, or, you know, what types of drinks you buy, like in the long run, when you have that cumulative, I can't even talk today, but when you have that group effort, I'm just not going to use the big words. When you have the group effort, it really makes the difference and can swing the pendulum the other way. Now, the other thing that he created, and shout out to my boy Kevin, because he's and the other guys on the web team, was web. And if you are ever interested in doing your own research, whether it's into the files or 9/11 or UFOs or even the Charlie Kirk case, go to the web.io and sign up, because this thing is amazing. I've done a couple of live streams and videos where I've gone over it and done research and showed people how I do my own research with it. I'm not going to get into that today. If you guys want, I could do it again soon, you know, on like a members only live or even a public live, you know, depending on, you know, who wants me to do it, if you do. But this thing is amazing. It is amazing. And it's the best tool that I could think of for people to really start to figure out what's going on and see for themselves. So that's my plug for Ian. Ian is the man. And what he was talking about with the files and with the cover up is what's going to lead us into the next segment of tonight's show, because there's some other big news going on right now. And I don't know if people are really aware. And that is the confirmation of Todd Blanche. Now, before I start, I want to say, because I made a mistake when describing Todd Blanche and why I thought that it was such a bad idea. Now, I said in the past that he was a part of Trump's legal team, and he was, but he wasn't part of the 2020 impeachment team that had Alan Dershowitz, Ken Starr, which are two former Epstein lawyers, and Pam Bondi. Todd Blanche ended up representing him a couple years later in 2023. But when it came to the covering up of the Epstein files, Todd Blanche not only played a pivotal role in that, but he was also the person that was assigned with having the one-on-one meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell right before she got transferred to a nice cushy facility where with less security, where she was able to, you know, do yoga and just live her best life when she should be rotting in hell right now. But that's another story. But anyway, so Pam Bondi, she got tapped as the AG, and she basically covered up the files. She said that she had the list of names on her desk. They had all the videos. Long story short, it got covered up and she fell on the sword. And I said early on, before she even lost her job, that this is what she was made, that this is what she was assigned for. Those files were never going to get released. She was going to end up falling on the sword, having to resign or getting fired. And then she was going to get a nice cushy job in the private sector. Now, not only did that basically happen, but now I believe she's on the board for something that's involving AI. I should have done my homework on that one to find out exactly what her role is, but I know that she's connected with what's going on with AI right now. Todd Blanche was tapped to be the interim, and now they're having the confirmation hearings to give him the job altogether. And I find a major conflict of interest there, because whether or not you think Trump had connections with certain specific things in the files, I'm not even going to get into that. I'm not trying to assume any guilt for anybody or anything like that. But the bottom line is his name was in those files over 30,000 times. He was in Epstein's sphere. He was friends with him at some point. They ran in the same circles. and to have his own personal lawyer who was already involved with covering up those files get that job just a couple of years after representing Trump personally, I find a major, major problem with that. And I know that it's not getting coverage on the news. People are not talking about it. I'm sure a lot of you didn't even know that that's what was going on. But like, we're talking about the attorney general, like the person that the DOJ is going to have to answer to. Okay. You want to talk about corruption or risks for corruption? Like, that is not going in the right direction. And then when you see everything that's going on with the new NDAA that just got passed and, you know, this merger, so to speak, and then you got the Charlie Kirk assassination, you know, it's too much. It's too much. We need to have the right people in these positions. And when they put the wrong people in the positions, people need to know exactly what's going on. They need to know who these people are and why they should not get the job. And again, we're not talking about a qualification issue. We're talking about conflicts of interest, major conflicts of interest. Like, this is, it's just insane. And it boggles my mind. The fact that they're even giving this guy the job, you know, it's like what Nate was saying earlier about just shoving our faces into it. You know, it's like they don't even care. They're not even trying. Like, they could easily have a no-name shill that people don't know about that has a clean record that's going to sell out and do what they want anyway. But instead, they're getting this guy. You know, they're getting the guy that was sitting down with Ghislaine Maxwell before she went to the nicer facility. It's insane. So I just want to play a clip right now of.
Thank you.
I don't know why I lost all my timestamps. Luckily, this one was getting played from the beginning. But this is Todd Blanche. This is Todd Blanche when he was asked about the Epstein files.
You said this is the end of the Epstein, of your review of the Epstein files. So just to clarify, is the public going to learn the identities of the men who abused the girls with the information that you're releasing? And if not, why not? And then I have a quick follow-up.
I mean, you just baked in an assumption into your question that I have never said and I don't know to be true. Is the public going to learn about men that abuse these girls? Like, what does that mean? I mean, I don't understand what that means.
Yo, isn't that a wild response? Isn't that a wild response? See the look on his face? Like what does that even mean? Like, what are you even talking about? What do you mean? What girls? You know, who got abused? Abused by who? Like, why are you saying this? Why would you even think this? What makes you think that Jeffrey Epstein had other people that were abusing girls? You know, it's like, are you fucking kidding me? And I'm sorry for those of you out there that don't like foul language. And I try not to. I try to tone it down. But this, like, listen. There's just going to be some clips and some situations that I think justify an F-bomb. You know, and as long as I only do one or two, you know, technically that's still a PG-13 movie. Just saying. But seriously, this guy? Really? And this is going to be the new AG? And everybody's okay with that. Everybody is okay with that. Guys, put a 1 in the chat if you think that this guy should be the new AG. Put a 2 in the chat if you think no. Like, just take his name off the list right now. Not the guy. Like, I can't even believe. And just look at his smug response. I'm gonna play it back from a couple of seconds, and I'm gonna play it through so you guys can see. But this is insanity, and this is the new AG.
An assumption into your question that I have never said and I don't know to be true. Is the public going to learn about men that abuse these girls? Like, what does that mean? I mean, I don't understand what that means.
Well, I mean, they're the men.
And look, the guy who's asking the question is stunned. He can't even believe that he answered that way. He's like, really? Is this really what he's saying? Like, he's just passing this back to me? Like, he's going to act like he doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about? Yo, it's insane. It's insane.
Who abused the young women through Epstein's,
Look, we said in July, and it remains as true today as it was in July. If we had information, we meaning the Department of Justice, about men who abused women.
Okay, right there. And that's the type of shit that goes on, right? That's the type of shit that goes on. He says, we meaning the Department of Justice. It's like, okay, I'll play. You know, I'll take the bait. Okay, so let's say, hypothetically speaking, the Department of Justice does not have the evidence. And that's because when Epstein got arrested in 2005, and, you know, they found out that he was a part of intelligence, when they raided his Manhattan facility, they were told where they can look and what they could look for. Meaning, imagine the cops come to raid your house, right? And there's somebody with the cops telling them, like, hey, like, you know, you can look in this room, you can look in that room, but you can't look in this room. Oh, no. You can go in that closet, but you can't open that dresser drawer. The other drawers are fine. That drawer, no good. Don't stay away. Like, that is how Epstein got investigated. And they didn't go to the island. They didn't go to the Zorro Ranch where, you know, people have theorized that a lot of the really bad stuff went down. It was very, very isolated. So it's basically like walking in when your mom's on the shower and you're like, you know, you don't want to look. You know, you're like, I don't see anything. I'm just getting the brush. You know what I mean? Like, that's how they freaking raided Epstein. So, okay, I'll play ball. So if the DOJ doesn't have it because they were never allowed to look to begin with, that means somebody else does. That means Epstein, if he was working with intelligence in any capacity, foreign or domestic, somebody has that information. Somebody knows who committed the crimes. Stop taking us for assholes. Stop beating around the bush and tell us where we got to get the answers. And I'm telling you right now, you play around with Webb for a couple hours, you're going to find plenty of things that are going to scare the crap out of you. And you're going to find a lot of probable cause. You might not find specific crimes, but you will find probable cause that warrant investigations where if said investigations were done, that you would find a whole load of crimes. And then we could actually get the accountability. But they don't say that. They play these like little word games to try to confuse people and not perjure themselves. You know, it's like Kash Patel, like, there's no credible evidence based on what I've seen that any of that went on. It's like, yeah, because they fucking didn't let you at the big kids table because you're fucking Kash Patel. You know, you're the front man. You know, like you're up there singing the songs in your suit, puffing your chest out, you know, in the locker room with the fucking Team USA hockey team pounding down the beers. But when they're having like the real meetings about what's really going on, you're not even in the room. Like, you're there to get in front of the podium and read the script and clean up the mess. Like, that's who you are. And like, this is what I mean. Like, we know what's going on. Like, the jig is up. Like, it doesn't work anymore. Like, this shit worked when we had cable TV and Operation Mockingbird on every news station, and people were still reading the newspaper, and they were convincing people that don't read anything on the internet because it's all bullshit. And you learned it on the internet? Where's your tinfoil hat? It's like, yo, like, that shit ain't working anymore. We know what's up. We know that the newspaper, the TV, that you're all full of shit. And that's why they spent all this time and energy trying to indoctrinate everybody and trying to turn everybody away from the truth, turn everybody away from how to find the truth. And people stopped listening. They went too far. Like, they went too far. It's like 9/11 happened. You had bin Laden cornered in Bora Bora. You fucking let him go so you can go into Afghanistan where over 90% of the opium's produced. And then all of a sudden we have a heroin epidemic. All of a sudden everybody's getting prescribed oxy. Like, what's that about? And then fentanyl. And then we're fucking dropping dead. Yo, you have no idea. Like, someone referenced before how I live on Long Island. I was talking to one of my very good friends I've known since I'm 6 years old today. And we were just talking about how many people that we know that fucking died from fentanyl and from heroin. And it's disgusting. Disgusting. Like, literally in the dozens. Literally in the dozens. And we have other friends that grew up with us that lost those friends too, that think that I'm crazy when I talk about this, because actually doing the work and finding out the truth is just too much. Or because they're still stuck on the mouse wheel and they have their 9-to-5 jobs that they don't even have time for it. It's like they go to work, they do what they got to do, they pay their bills, they smoke their weed, they drink their beers, they numb themselves, they wake up the next day and they just force themselves to believe this shit. Or maybe they just do believe Trump. You know, maybe they just keep falling for the WWE bullshit and think that, oh no, you know, you need to vote for Trump. You need to vote for the Republicans because otherwise the Democrats are going to let in the immigrants. It's like, yo, asshole, guess what? They let the immigrants in to justify ICE. ICE is not here for the immigrants. They are here for us. They are here so when enough people start waking up and start calling this shit out, and then all of a sudden you're like, they're worried that you're gonna have a situation like Albania where you had a real protest where the people really fucking put their money where their mouth was and forced these fucking cocksuckers out. Pardon my French. But you know, like they're worried that if that happens, that they're going to need the manpower. So what's the best way to do it? You give a bunch of middle-aged guys guns and authority, and you're like, yeah, you're part of the team. You guys are soldiers now. Let's go. We're going to get the bad guys. But while that's going on, they're starting to like plant these seeds. It's like, oh, well, you know, the left, that's Antifa. They're bad guys. You know, once we get rid of the immigrants, they might go too far. We might have to go after them next. The woke right, they're a bunch of anti-Semitism. They're all anti-Semitic. You know, they're bad too. You know, we might have to go after them. And they're pitting us against each other. And people are falling for it. And I'm just so sick of it. I'm just so sick of it. Especially when they have cocksuckers like fucking Todd Blanche getting put as Attorney General.
Means.
Well, I mean, they're the men who abused the young women through Epstein's
Look, we said in July, and it remains as true today as it was in July. If we had information, we meaning the Department of Justice, about men who abused women, we would prosecute them, right? We talked about the work that we're doing. That's why I said that. I said this earlier. There's this built-in assumption that somehow there's this hidden tranche of information of men that we know about that we're covering up or that we're choosing not to prosecute. That is not the case. I don't know whether there are men out there that abuse these women. If we learn about information and evidence that allows us to prosecute them, you better believe we will. But I don't think that the public or you all are going to uncover men within the Epstein files that abuse women, unfortunately.
And just a
You know, it's just a joke. It's a joke, and the joke's on us. But like I said, every day, more and more people are waking up. They're waking up, they see through it, thank God, and now it's going to be their backs against the wall. And that's what it is. And I do believe the system works. I believe the system can work. You know, you hear a lot of people saying that we can't vote our way out of this. It's like, what are you kidding me? There's 350 million Americans. Of course we can vote our way out of this. We can do whatever the hell we want. You know, people just need to realize that they have that power. You know, they need to realize what they're capable of. They need to find God. They need to break away from the demoralization that we've been seeing in America go on for decades. You know, they need to like find their sense of self-worth and integrity and just put their foot down and just say enough is enough. Like, we can do this. Like, there's literally nothing stopping us but ourselves. It's not Trump. It's not the Republicans or the Democrats. It's not Israel. It's not Palantir. Like, all that shit is just to track us in case we get organized. But the whole thing is, once we get organized, they still have to figure out their next move. And if they go too far, they're going to piss everybody off and they're going to lose whatever support they have left. And that is the fact. And that is why I'm so fired up and why I feel good, because we got this. We got this. People just don't know it yet. Like, we already, you know, it's crazy. But now again, I'm sorry, I lost my timestamps, so I got to play a random clip. But this is Cory Booker, another show. Like, this is what I mean when I talk about like the WWE stuff. But this is him going back and forth with Todd Blanche.
And you publicly said you were seeking the truth. So let's talk about what that 2-day meeting produced. Did your interview with Ms. Maxwell lead to a single additional person being charged, yes or no?
No.
Did it lead to a single new investigation, yes or no?
I can't talk about whether there's any investigation.
I'm not asking you about.
Listen to how weak he sounds in his voice. Like, yo, like they spent 10 months telling us that Lance Twiggs was some trans furry, and Todd Blanche sounds way more feminine than Lance Twiggs does. Just saying. But like, listen to Todd Blanche answer these questions, and you tell me that he believes in his words. You tell me that you believe that he believes in what he's saying. You know, like, you listen to me talk, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Well, maybe you don't know that I believe what I'm saying, but I believe in my words. Like, I stand by my laurels. Like, I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. I don't know if I could say the same about Todd Blanche.
About an ongoing or closed investigation. I'm just asking you
I
about
can't
this
answer your
unusual.
question, yes or no.
Did you or anyone else from the DOJ or associated with the president discuss a presidential pardon with Ghislaine Maxwell or her attorneys?
No.
Did you discuss clemency, yes or no?
No.
Did you discuss
She was convicted. What do you mean, Clement?
Did you discuss her transfer to another institution, yes or no?
No.
Well, just 1 week after your meeting, Ms. Maxwell was transferred from a low security federal institution to a minimum security prison camp. Were you involved with that transfer?
When, as I've talked about before, in the
Notice he's not giving a yes or no answer. That was a yes or no answer.
time leading up to me going down to meet with her, we learned that she was receiving threats. It turned out.
I'm going to interrupt you for a matter of time because.
Okay, well, it's not a question I can answer apparently in the time you're giving me.
I'm going to tell you this because I deal with issues of criminal justice. When people are under threats in a Bureau of Prison facility, they're put into solitary confinement or protective. They're not moved to a camp.
That's not always true.
It is.
You're
Well,
just
what
wrong.
is what is true is someone that is accused of child sex trafficking under the Bureau of Prison's own policies is not put in a facility like this that seems clearly like a reward. The Department of Justice is also responsible that powerful corporations play by the same rules. Let's take a proposed merger between Paramount, Warner Brothers, and Discovery. This is no ordinary transaction. It was a proposed $111 billion merger involving two of the last remaining legacy Hollywood studios. As Deputy Attorney General and later Acting Attorney General, you exercise oversight of the Antitrust Division. You approved the decision to close the department's investigation into that merger, yes or no?
I was part of the decision. I
Yes,
don't know
you were
whether-
involved in that.
You
That
don't
is a
even
yes.
let me answer, man.
Did you?
That's
Did the
incredible.
career attorneys
The
who
answer to-
investigated that deal recommend closing that investigation?
I didn't have a conversation with the career, but as I was saying,
I didn't
earlier-
ask.
All right, so let me just break this down for you. For those of you that don't know, okay, Ghislaine Maxwell was Jeffrey Epstein's partner in a lot of ways. And Ghislaine Maxwell's father was one of the most notorious Mossad agents of all time. And he goes in and does the interview with her, and all of a sudden she's going to a nice facility, getting to do yoga. Yeah, and that's our new attorney general. Okay, so who do you think Todd Blanche really works for? Who do you think he really works for? And then they're bringing up the merger deal with Warner. What, owned by the Ellisons? It's the Ellisons that want to buy Warner. Larry Ellison, who bought TikTok, who bought CBS, the number one largest individual donor to the IDF. That Larry Ellison. So who does Todd Blanche work for? You think he works for you? Do you think that he's seeking justice for all the victims that were trafficked? Do you think that Ghislaine Maxwell got to go in that nice cushy facility and do yoga because she gave some sort of information that helped take down the bad guys? Or do you think he facilitated the deal to make sure that she'd keep her mouth shut and make sure that nobody got arrested? I think that is a very fair question that is still, as of today, protected by my First Amendment constitutional right. I see we got a couple more supers. Let me just, I'm getting all fired up. I'm going to have to stop now. I'm going to go too far and say some shit, and they're going to fucking pull the plug on me once and for all. Be better than getting Kirk, though. I'll tell you that much. Beach for Jesus, $2. October 14th, CK's birthday. Collective Voice Ideas. Cubby, another big super chat. $50. Thank you very much. Oh, shit. My daughter died from heroin almost 14 years ago, age 23. They are killing off our population. She wasn't even an avid drug user. Sad to say, I didn't even know anything about drugs to see it. They don't even care what they are doing to any of us. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, no, I know more than you know, believe me. I'm sorry. That sucks. Christy Hughes, $20. Thank you very much. God bless Truth Seekers. I love you all. Shout out to my beautiful mods. Yes, our mods are the best. We got another big super chat from Tex, $100. Thank you very much. You definitely have some heavy, hard-hitting points. I see why they call you Based Bays. As I conduct my own research, I highly respect how easy it is to understand and follow your thought process. You're well-researched and well-versed in many topics covered. Yes, I'm telling you, like you guys don't even know. Like I spent an entire year researching this stuff, like a full-time job, like not like a couple hours a day. Like, I mean, like I thought my girl was going to leave me because I was in front of the computer like 18 hours at a time. And I was just so blown away. I just couldn't believe how bad it was. I couldn't believe how bad it was. And it was like always, like this. You know, like people talk about like World War II conspiracies. I'm not even going to get into that. But like, quick tidbit of information in case you didn't know. So during World War II, there were Americans that were doing business with the Nazis. Prescott Bush was one of them. He almost got charged with, I think at one point he was investigated for or almost charged with the Trading with the Enemy Act, or under the Trading with the Enemy Act. Henry Ford, it's crazy. I was watching the movie Ford versus Ferrari, and there's a scene where Henry Ford Jr. is like sitting there talking about like, oh, look out that window. We World War II, we fought the Nazis. Like we could take on Ferrari. It's like, no, in reality, Ford was making cars and shit for the Nazis. America actually bombed one of their warehouses or factories, and then Ford sued the American government and won a settlement for like 60 or 70 million dollars. Like you find out certain facts like that, and it's just like, like they just lie about everything. Like they're so dirty. They've been playing both sides forever. Like it's like they're just so full of shit, and they think we're stupid. That's what it is. They think we're stupid. And that's why, and shout out to my boy Danks, me and Danks, every Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time, right here on YouTube. It's the They Think You're Stupid podcast, where we get into a lot of this stuff. And Danks, that's my boy. He's even better with AI than I am. And we both do a lot of research, and we stay uncovering stuff. We stay like that's what we do. As a matter of fact, I was watching, I didn't catch his live today, but I was watching part of it. I know he said he uncovered something. I didn't even get to watch it yet. Let's check that out now.
USA.
Let's see. Let's see what our boy Danks found today.
Is this the same Mitchell Manley that? Oh, very interesting. Holy smokes.
Oh, wrong.
Holy smokes. This is the same Mitchell Manley that has been going on. He went on Black Line Brief. Is this the same Mitchell Manley? That his grandfather died and Turning Point USA got the money? No. His dad was taken care of, right? Mitchell Seen Jr. So if this is Junior, holy shit! I just came to a revelation, you guys. Revolution.
Oh, yo, I'm not gonna lie. Danks gave me a couple of timestamps. I didn't even get to watch him yet. I just clicked on the one that said reveal. But chat, you guys know what the hell he's talking about? I heard the story about like the inheritance where like somebody got screwed out of money or whatever, but I didn't really follow with the Mitchell Manley guy.
You guys, do you understand what I'm talking about? It's his son. Dude, when you sent me this, and because Barron I don't know who walked through this. We went through this. Maybe it was Barron. He was talking about somebody was going, I don't know who it was. I don't know. But somebody, yeah, Mitchell Manley. Let's go. Let me go take a look over here. Oh my God.
Oh, the camera guy? Yeah. No, I don't watch Black Line Brief. I don't fuck with that guy. He's I'm not like trying to talk shit, but he's not based. I'll just put it that way. I got a little history with him, and he's always talking shit about me behind the scenes, and I have no idea why. Like that guy was talking crap about me like before I even knew who he was. Like it's actually crazy. I made a video about it. If you guys ever want to check it out, if you're interested, like because I don't fucking know. Fuck Black Line Brief.
Gosh, you guys. Black Line Brief. Done it again.
Done it again. What did
having
you do?
on this guy? I don't know. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying that is very strange. Now he's speaking out. Very interesting, actually. I'm very curious. Okay, so Mitchell Manley. Yeah, this is it. The story TPUSA doesn't want you to hear. Huh. I bet you.
See, I heard that there was a thing with the camera guy. Like I knew this. Like I didn't like watch the lives or anything, but I heard that a camera guy spoke out. But I was just surprised because if like why wouldn't he? Like you would think that if somebody that close was speaking out, that TPUSA would have made a statement or sent him a cease and desist. And if they didn't, it could mean that either he's telling the truth and they can't, or that it's not really credible. They're not really worried about it. I don't know. Let's just watch.
That's interesting. So Mitchell Manley, the guy that is in this interview, I'm just going to, put it on mute and play it. This one right here, apparently, allegedly. His dad was the caregiver to Alton Jennings, who then died after removing his grandson's from here's the page, removing his grandson from the trust and replaced it with Mitchell Manley, his dad's, and then also Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, and then YAF. That's the guy. So what does he have to say? Dude, that is so wild. I realized that on stage. That would have been so dope if I was just that good. I was like, oh, I connected it all. But I'm not that good. Sorry.
You know what? I actually believe him too, because whenever Danks finds something big, like he'll call me. He's like, bro, I'm about to break a story. Like when he broke the story with Bradley Pascal with the FAR documents, being a registered foreign agent for Israel. He told me, he's like, bro, this is gonna be big. I'm like, good luck. Next thing you know, he's on the Alex Jones show. It's like, oh man, this is great. Well, maybe not great. I don't know. So what's he saying? He's basically saying that the camera guy that is related to the person that was involved with the will where this family got screwed out of 25 million. Is that like what I'm getting out of this?
I'm a one-man band. It's hard sometimes, so not that I'm a one-man band. I got the whole crew, but according to the petition, yeah, so Mitch Manley Sr. Okay, so now we got to read through this. Okay. According to the petition for declaratory judgment, Alton Jennings began to show significant signs of cognitive decline in 2020, following a series of mini strokes and falls around 2021. Let me make sure I pause that. Yeah, okay. Don't want to be giving no view time to people that, unless I'm watching. Okay. No, it's just for my browser processing. Okay. Around 2021, Jennings hired Mitch Manley Sr., acting as caregiver. Now Manley Sr. is being accused of isolating Jennings, yada, yada, yada. And his Jennings from his family and seizing control of his finances. I guess it's not yada, yada, yada. So once Manley under the care and control, Alton was isolated. We read this before. Began refusing visits and rarely responded to phone calls or messages. That's worrisome. Imagine your family. Imagine it's your grandfather. Your grandfather is 95 years old. You've had your whole lives together. think you're born, all these years, who knows if you were close, maybe not. I don't know, they're in a relationship. But I will say, you get them set up like, okay, cool. I'm glad that you're taken care of. You've got a caregiver that makes me feel comfortable. We'll check in, that you go over, and slowly though, oh yeah, no, we're just we're out right now, or I just got home. I'm gonna take a nap, or just stopped answering eventually, and slowly distancing themselves from you. What would that make you feel like? This is, I believe, is testimony, actually. So I take this as face value, as what it's supposed to be, is honest truth. That is, so let's hear this. So Turning Point's attorneys confirmed that Mitch Manley Jr. worked as an intern for their organization. So it is interesting that, okay, so this was in, let me look at, so this was in 2020. Okay, so I got way too many tabs open. This is my problem. Let me close some of these and find where we're at here. Okay. Okay, so this is the petition. C. Alton Jennings, revocable trust dated November 6, 2023, and the last will and testament of Alton C. Jennings Jr. Petition for declaratory judgment. We could definitely, if we want, ask. We have an AI here to give us an explanation. Explain what this means. Where's this damn thing? Let me, I don't know if you can see it. If I don't share the whole window, I'll share it in 1 second. It's called Petition for Declaratory Judgment. Petition for declaratory judgment in a trust and revocable trust dated November 6, 2023. Here's
Oh, I was muted that whole time. I did it again. My bad. Yeah, no, I don't. That's crazy though. If that's the same guy, or if it's his father or whatever, yeah, that's kind of fucked. So the camera guy, how long did he work there? Guys, chat, let me know. How long did whatever the guy's name, when did he stop working for TPUSA? Anybody know? Yeah, I know I did. I'm sorry. I was looking at something. When did he stop working at TPUSA? I gotta find. You know what? Hold on. Let's see. You got the live docket. Let's just get back to it. I'll look at something while playing the clip.
recipient of the same funds that Turning Point USA had received from Alton Jennings. Eric Erickson, who else? Dan Flynn, Steve Forbes, chairman and editor-in-chief of Forbes Media. These are speakers they've had. Some people, most of these I just don't know. But then you get to Josh Hammer. Josh Hammer is a regular speaker, it looks like, allegedly at Young America's Foundation. I believe he's also the same at Turning Point USA. Who else do we have? We have, well, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. We have Michael Knowles. Michael Knowles, interesting. Who else do we have? David Limbaugh. We've got.
I just saw somebody in the chat say that Trump's going to be live. What is it? The White House Correspondents' Dinner? I didn't even realize that was tonight. You guys want to keep watching this, or you want to switch to the White House Correspondents' Dinner? Put a 1 in the chat if you want to keep going with this. Put a 2 in the chat if you want to watch the Correspondents' Dinner. That should, we could get back to this later. I got to get some more information anyway. I don't really like playing stuff. 1 this, 2, 1. Oh my God, you guys are killing me. All right, I'm gonna just do a poll. Oh, do you think the government will come after freedom of speech? 92% of you said yes. Oh man, that's not good. I hope we're wrong. Thanks, Trump. Let's see. Let's see. Moment of truth. I'm gonna read some supers while you guys are figuring it out for me. Gems, thank you very much. We got Mesh, $2. Thank you very much. Donald Trump is live right now. Should we watch? Tex, yo, Tex. When you email me, if you're comfortable with it, send me your address. I'm gonna send you some free merch. Tex, $50. Thank you very much. Also, prior Army vet standard component 11B here. Nothing crazy or high speed. I was able to join to don't ask, don't tell, to be repeated. I know. Hopefully that's cool here. I left Army after Afghanistan pulled out. Huge slap in the face to friends. Dude, what do you mean you hope that that's cool here? You know, that's a crazy thing to say. We, of course, like we 1000%. We love the troops over here. Like, don't you know who Valhalla is? Like my boy, like former Green Beret. My girl served. My girl served for like 12 years. Bro, that's a crazy ask. Of course. We are a huge friend. Listen, there's a difference between being a friend to the military and criticizing or being a friend to the military industrial complex. Those are two completely different things. just so we're on the same page. Oh my God, you guys are killing me. It's a 50-50. All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep the window up because Trump's not even on yet. I'm going to keep the window open, but muted so I can pay attention to what's going on. And then when Trump comes on or somebody that's worth watching, I will switch to it. But for now, let's stick with this.
I don't know. Maybe point them out in the chat if you know any of these people. Rabbi Yakov and Mencken.
Oh, you know what I'm going to do?
Stephen Miller. Ooh, I know he's a fan favorite.
I want to see who's sitting next to who.
Another rabbi up there. Gotta love the shout out to the rabbis. Who else? Anybody? Cabot Phillips. Ooh, Cabot Phillips is a. Wait, that can't be. Is that really Cabot Phillips?
What,
I thought I saw his tattoo from the outside.
Yo,
it looks like he wants to flip it over. Cabot Phillips.
See, and this is the thing with Danks. He's sitting here getting all excited about Cabot Phillips. Yo, shout out to Danks. I love Danks. But look at this. Danks looks at this and he sees Cabot Phillips. I look at this and I see Mike Pompeo. Danks, come on. Cabot Phillips, you know, like you should be saying, look who's next to Cabot Phillips. The honorable. It doesn't even just say Mike Pompeo. It says the honorable Mike Pompeo. Yo, that is crazy. Yo, Mike Pompeo is the one that kept Trump from releasing the JFK files. Mike Pompeo is like, oh my God. Yo, he's a very powerful, dangerous guy. So I don't want to talk too much shit. I was talking about him the other night. I don't want to like make that a thing. But yeah, that's definitely the highlight of of the names here. Just saying.
Phillips. Ooh, Cabot Phillips is a.
Yeah, I got
it.
I love that. Really I'm definitely gonna break his balls about this tomorrow. Look at this.
I thought I saw his tattoo.
Look at this. He's like, is that really Cabot Phillips? He's making like the tattoo joke. Meanwhile, right there in his face, fucking Mike Pompeo.
Two from the outside. It looks like he wants to flip it over. Cabot Phillips, ladies and gentlemen, speaker. Oh, you can inquire. Okay, so maybe they're not. Maybe they're a what's YAF? What are they doing here? So Cabot Phillips, are they saying $0 to $5,000 for what? Media bias, free speech, woke ideology. Speaker. Cabot Phillips is the senior editor at the Daily Wire and can be heard on the Morning Wire podcast. Previously, he served as an editor-in-chief of the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform. He's also a YouTube partner, and his videos have amassed over 400 million views on a variety of social platforms. Topics: the lies of the left. I talk about the most pervasive lies in all our culture today. America is racist. Truth is subjective. Border security is xenophobic, and offensive speech isn't free speech, etc. How the media rigs elections. My goodness, I didn't know we were getting into all this. This is wild. I get into my experience in the mainstream media and how they try to mislead and manipulate voters with biased coverage.
Hold on. I got to do something real quick. Give me 2 seconds. All right, guys, you want to see something fun? Here we go. We're going to do some live research right now because who gives a fuck about Cabot Phillips? All right. Run a deep search and analysis on Mike Pompeo and give me a breakdown on his history and how it connects to our files. Let's just see what it says. This should be fun. This should be fun while we wait. We're gonna learn something together, guys. We're gonna do a little public research. Don't mind the loading screen. Hold on. It's got a lot to I'll make it small while it's loading. It's got a lot to go through. Fucking Mike Pompeo. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm definitely gonna break Danks' balls about this later. How he just like overlooked that, you know? It'd be like being on the roof at UVU, not the Losi Center where they said that the guy that Tyler Robinson was. It'd be like being on the other roof, you know, and walking right by the 223 and just like picking up a screwdriver. I don't know, something else. Let's see. All right, Mike Pompeo, background and connection map. I am assuming you meant Mike Pompeo, the former CIA director and Secretary of State. Yes. ChatGPT, you are correct. That is the Mike Pompeo that I was referring to. Bottom line, Pompeo is important to your files because he repeatedly appears at the junction of 4 themes you have been investigating: intelligence agencies controlling politically damaging information, close operational cooperation between America and Israeli intelligence, aggressive action against publishers who expose intelligence operations, using secrecy, sanctions, and covert pressure to shape foreign governments. The evidence supports treating Pompeo as a major institutional gatekeeper during the first Trump administration. It does not, based on what I found, establish that Pompeo personally worked with Jeffrey Epstein, participated in Epstein's crimes, or directly managed an Epstein-related intelligence operation. That is very good to know, and I think it's very important to get on the record that the former director of the CIA did not personally work with Jeffrey Epstein, you know, because that would be very scary. That would be even scarier than the current person that they're trying to make the new AG, you know, personally interviewing Ghislaine Maxwell and allegedly facilitating the transfer of her into a cushy facility. Pompeo's rise. He graduated first in his 1986 West Point class, served as a U.S. Army cavalry officer in West Germany, earned a Harvard law degree, and worked at Williams and Connolly. He later founded Thayer Aerospace and served as president of Century International, an oil field equipment company. Oh, you don't say. He's into big oil. All right, let's skip around a little bit. Pompeo entered Congress in 2011, representing Wichita, Kansas. He served on House Intelligence Committee, CIA Intelligence Subcommittee, the Benghazi Select Committee. Oh, Benghazi. I got to cover that one soon. Rest in peace. The Energy and Commerce Committee. That means he was already receiving classified briefings and overseeing intelligence operations before Trump chose him to run the CIA. The CIA's own historical account says Pompeo knew about covert action programs through his intelligence committee work and received more comprehensive briefings during the presidential transition. Why this matters. Pompeo did not arrive at the CIA as an outsider attempting to expose it. He arrived as an experienced intelligence overseer who already understood its classified programs. Remember when, 2016, we thought Trump was the outsider. He was going to drain the swamp. He was going to make all these changes. He was going to expose the deep state. He knew the laws. And then this is the guy that he picked to run the CIA, Mike Pompeo. His intelligence philosophy. Pompeo consistently favored expansive surveillance powers. Oh, whoa, hold on. Pompeo consistently favored expansive surveillance powers. Before becoming CIA director, he argued for restoring bulk metadata collections and combining it with financial and lifestyle information in a comprehensible, searchable database. You mean like Facebook? That type of lifestyle information? Because remember, the same day that Facebook was established, another DARPA project called LifeLog was discontinued. Same day. What are the odds? It's like the biggest coinky dink I've heard all day. Or you've heard all day. Maybe. I don't know. He opposed closing Guantanamo Bay and criticized restrictions imposed after the CIA's detention and interrogation controversies. Oh, so he wanted to, he was down with the alleged torture. Well, not alleged. He was down with the torture programs, allegedly. This establishes a consistent pattern. Pompeo's default position was that the intelligence agencies needed broader authority, stronger secrecy, and fewer operational restraints. That position connects directly to your broader concern about intelligence institutions investigating themselves, classifying their own misconduct, and deciding what the public is permitted to know. So he was basically the gatekeeper of classified information and information that was supposed to be declassified, like, who killed JFK. CIA director from 2017 to April 2018. Pompeo was sworn in as CIA director. All right, his brief tenure was consequential because it covered the beginning of Trump's presidency, the Vault 7 disclosures, the first Trump-era JFK record deadline, intensified CIA operations concerning Iran, North Korea, and WikiLeaks, the reorganization of Trump's national security team, Vault 7 and WikiLeaks. In March 2017, WikiLeaks began publishing Vault 7, a massive collection of concerning CIA hacking capabilities. Pompeo responded by labeling WikiLeaks as a non-state hostile intelligence service. That designation was not merely rhetoric. A later investigation based on interviews with former U.S. officials reported that CIA personnel under Pompeo discussed extraordinary plans involving Julian Assange. Yo, I actually covered this the other day. with Julian Assange. They were talking about offing him. They had assets that were designated with tracking his wife, and they were trying to get DNA from his 6-month-old kid. It was totally fucked what they did to Julian Assange. Including, now it's saying it, including possible rendition, kidnapping, and in some reported scenarios, assassination. Yeah, I guess I should have just kept reading, right? The reporting said Pompeo and other senior officials requested operational options after the Vault 7 publication. Pompeo denied discussing assassination and attacked the officials who spoke to reporters, saying they should be prosecuted for disclosing classified deliberations. Who else likes targeting journalists that we know of? Isn't this marriage starting to make a little bit more sense? The marriage that happened the other day. Connections to your Assange files. This is one of the strongest connections. Your Assange material examines whether the CIA treats exposure of agency wrongdoing as a threat warranting extreme retaliation. Pompeo's record demonstrates that this concern is not speculative in the abstract. WikiLeaks published authentic CIA material. Pompeo publicly reclassified the publisher as a hostile intelligence entity. Officials subsequently described operational discussions involving kidnapping or offing Assange. Pompeo focused his public response on prosecuting the leakers who exposed those discussions. Listen. So he was going to prosecute the people that were exposing the fact that they were going to off somebody who was exposing what they were doing wrong. Just so we're all on the same page. The evidence does not prove Pompeo personally approved a finalized assassination plan. It does support the conclusion that his CIA treated journalism and publication as an intelligence battlefield. You know, kind of like what's going on today with the intelligence battlefield regarding the Charlie Kirk case and all the people that say that the files are a Democrat hoax, or the people that say that anybody who's against data centers or against the war with Iran is being funded by like Russia or China or, you know, whatever bullshit they try to conjure up to justify the fact that they're attacking our civil liberties. Sorry, I'm talking too fast. I'm stumbling on some of my words. The JFK record connection. In October 2017, Trump released approximately 2,800 JFK files, but withheld others after pressure from the CIA and the FBI. Your Paramount Tactical files specifically contain the same claim that Pompeo advised Trump against full disclosure, and that Trump later said the public would understand his decision if it knew what he knew. The transcript argues that the remaining secrecy suggested either continued institutional protection or records that had already been heavily sanitized. All right, so it's going over my debate with Paramount Tactical here. The same point appears again in your compiled discussion. Pompeo was allegedly telling Trump that the remaining files could not be released, after which Trump retreated from complete disclosure. And to this day, there are 10,000 files from the JFK files that have not been declassified, even though they were supposed to, because according to John Kiriakou, former CIA analyst that got thrown in jail for throwing the CIA under the bus for the torture program, says that the JFK assassination connects directly, or those files, I should say, that the declassified files that they refuse to release directly connect the JFK assassination to, I'm not going to say it. What remains less certain? Public evidence does not conclusively establish exactly what Pompeo personally told Trump in private or which specific records he argued should remain protected. Connection to your files. Pompeo is central to your JFK transparency theory because he occupied the precise position responsible for protecting CIA equities when Trump reversed course. That does not prove Pompeo was protecting evidence of a CIA role in Kennedy's assassination. The narrower and supportable conclusion is Pompeo helped lead an institution that successfully retained control over part of the JFK record, despite the statutory and presidential push towards disclosure. Your files also show why that matters narratively. Before Paramount Tactical's messaging shift, you identified Gary Melton himself treated Pompeo's alleged intervention as evidence that the public was being misled and that the intelligence agencies had likely scrubbed or withheld important material. So it's basically saying that once upon a time, Gary Melton was saying the same things that I was about Mike Pompeo and the JFK files. It's only bringing up Gary right now because it's combining this with all of my research. Bill Barr and the intelligence establishment. Oh, this is where it's going to get good. There is a documented Pompeo-Bill Barr institutional connection that is relevant to your Epstein files. Barr wrote, okay, just so you guys know, Bill Barr was the AG back when Epstein got arrested, and his father, Donald Barr, was the guy that gave Epstein the job as a teacher at Dalton, even though he did not have a degree in teaching. So make what you want of that. Barr wrote that Pompeo invited him to serve on the CIA's External Advisory Board in 2017 after a recommendation from Robert Kimmett. Barr said the position allowed him to reconnect with the agency and advise CIA leadership under Pompeo and later Gina Haspel. This was before Barr returned as Attorney General in February of 2019. The timeline is significant. 2017, Pompeo brings Barr into the CIA advisory environment. 2018, Pompeo moves to the State Department. 2019, Barr becomes Attorney General. July of 2019, Epstein is arrested. August of 2019, Epstein does not off himself in federal custody under Barr's Department of Justice. I did a little minor edit there. I hope you guys don't mind. What this means, it proves that Barr's relationship with the Trump administration did not begin when Trump nominated him for Attorney General. Barr was already advising the CIA after being brought in through Pompeo's network. What it does not prove that Pompeo and Barr coordinated an Epstein cover-up. The relevant connection is institutional and chronological, not yet evidentiary. But it is institutional and chronological. Pompeo helped reintroduce Barr into the intelligence establishment shortly before Barr returned to control the Justice Department during the Epstein prosecution and death. The facts deserve inclusion in your Barr-Epstein timeline, but it should not represent as proof of criminal coordination. Now, remember, something about ChatGPT, it does not assume guilt in people. So it's always going to throw that in as like a disclaimer. It's kind of like a parental advisory sticker on rap records. All right, the Epstein connection. I did not find reliable evidence establishing that Pompeo met Epstein, appeared in his flight records, visited his properties, conducted business, corresponded directly with, was accused by an identified victim, or personally intervened in the prosecution. There are online claims connecting Pompeo to a cover-up, including recent commentary by Tucker Carlson and Mike Benz, both pretty credible sources of information, just saying. But those arguments are mainly depend on Pompeo's CIA role. What do you mean, mainly depend on his role? He was the damn director. His relationship with Barr, intelligence withholding, and the wider theory that he operated inside an intelligence-linked financial network. I just want to ask you guys something real quick, okay? Real important. If Mike Pompeo, right, if he didn't want to disclose the Epstein files that he had nothing to do with, that happened decades before he had the job, what do you think the probability is that he would have wanted to disclose Epstein files? You know what I mean? Like, come on. At this point, it's kind of common sense. All right, let's wrap this up. Pompeo's actual connection to that theory. Pompeo does not connect cleanly to Epstein's formative 1970s and 90s network. He connects to later institutional apparatus that would have possessed intelligence concerning that network. CIA director, former House Intelligence Committee member, Secretary of State, close partner of Israeli intelligence leadership, person who brought Barr onto CIA advisory board, official associated with limiting disclosure in other sensitive intelligence matters. That gives Pompeo potential knowledge access, but not proven participation. A fair analytical label would be high probability that Pompeo had access to intelligence relevant to Epstein's international network, low documented probability or direct personal relationship. Israel and Mossad. Pompeo developed an exceptionally close relationship with Israel and its intelligence establishment. As Secretary of State, his department strongly defended Israel at the United Nations, reversed the U.S. position that Israeli civilian settlements were inherently inconsistent with international law, supported recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital, supported U.S. recognition of Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, promoted normalization agreements between Israel and Arab governments. Pompeo later wrote that the CIA assisted endangered Mossad operatives at personal request of then Mossad director Yossi Cohen. That is direct acknowledgement of operational CIA-Mossad cooperation under Pompeo. Connection to your Epstein Israeli files. Your files examine Ehud Barak, extensive relationship. Robert Maxwell and Ghislaine Maxwell's aligned intelligence associations, which I referenced earlier. Ari Ben Menashe's claims, which was that Robert was the one that recruited Jeffrey, the Bronfman networks, which I'm not even going to get into all this, but yeah. And there's more. Let's just go to probable. It is probable that Pompeo had access to substantially more intelligence concerning Epstein's international relationships than has been publicly released. A CIA director and Secretary of State would be positioned to receive reporting involving foreign intelligence services, major political figures, trafficking vulnerabilities, compromise risks, and influential financial intermediaries. Access, however, is not participation. All right, now, what's Pompeo's connection to TPUSA? Let's just get that cooking real quick. Guys, oh shit, Trump's already on. All right, I'm gonna bring Trump on, and then we'll get back to this in a little bit.
Emphasis, but everyone is now really warming up. The new White House military center, drone port, highly protected ballroom. We have our ballroom. The windows are this thick. I said to the people, well, if a bullet hits, what happens? Nothing. Nothing. It bounces right off, sir. This is the greatest bulletproof glass. I said, AK-47. That's supposed to be a big one. I don't know so much about the guns. My sons know a lot. But I said, I know it's big. What would happen? They go up, meaning it can take more. I said, so if I'm making a speech and I hear that pinging sound at a window, what would I do? Sir, leave the room right away, but you're going to be safe. We're building something that's going to be amazing. And in light of what we went through, I think people understand it. It's going to be amazing. A phenomenal, one of the biggest drone ports anywhere in the world, right on the roof, right protecting the White House, not only the ballroom. And what's underneath, you know, is supposed to be a top military secret, what's underneath, but then you get sued as usual, and you have to reveal that you're building this unbelievable situation downstairs with room after room of very complex stuff. It was the military's dream to have it built. I wanted to have a ballroom because for 150 years they wanted it, and then the generals came.
Sorry, guys. I did not mean to ignore the poll. Listen, don't blame me. I got wrapped up with my reading and my research. I got excited for a minute. Yeah, 35%. We're not going to cover Trump. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. I caught it. I saw the comment. I knew I messed up. And we're back. I'll find out what's good there later. All right. So let's see. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Let's get back. There we go. All right. So it's saying that with TPUSA, his connections, that he was a speaker, that there's no formal role, no role found in direct with TPUSA action or faith. Run a deep search and analysis into connections to James E. Woolsey, Erica France-Faye, Lori France-Faye, and or Romania. That should be a good one. And do I have another clip while that's playing? I think I had another clip. Actually, yeah. Oh, I got something juicy. I got another juicy clip from Stu Peters from that interview. He found something else that I got to look into. Let me see. While this is cooking, are there any more supers? Oh, there's a couple. Julie Hahn, thank you for the gems. Appreciate you. What is this? Megs and cheese, $2. Thank you very much. Thank you for being live, Bays. Yeah, no, I love being live. Tex, new member, welcome. Yeah, no, you're not going to regret that decision. Let me tell you, we spill the tea a lot on the members only lives. We have a lot of fun, and I do them pretty often. Against my better judgment, Jen in the chat, just stopping through to like and say hi. Keep up the great work, Bays. Yeah, Against My Better Judgment is another channel. Jen is great. She is high energy. I streamed with her a little bit the other day. I'm gonna work with her again very soon, but check her out. The fake Blake Bednar's $2. Can Bednar's talk to Stu Peters, or is that not allowed? What are you asking me for? I don't know. Does the real or fake Blake want to talk to Stu Peters? Yo, did Blake Bednar's make his own fake account to make sure somebody else wouldn't? That would actually be mad funny. All right, let's see what we got here, though, if there's any ties. All right, bottom line, no verified direct relationship between Mike Pompeo and Erica Franzwe, Lori Franzwe, and their Romanian charity work. Pompeo and James E. Woolsey directly established connection. James Woolsey publicly supported Pompeo's elevation from CIA director to Secretary of State. Woolsey described Pompeo as capable, candid, likely to perform well in the position. And James E. Woolsey, by the way, was another former CIA director. He was CIA director under Bill Clinton during the same 2-year period that Epstein went to the White House 17 times. And James E. Woolsey did work with Erica Kirk. Just putting that out there, just trying to connect some dots. Both men occupied Trump's national security orbit. Woolsey joined Trump's campaign as a senior national security advisor in 2016. Pompeo endorsed Trump after initially supporting Marco Rubio. That's a data point. So Mike Pompeo initially endorsed Marco Rubio. Interesting. Woolsey left the Trump transition orbit in January 2017, around the time Pompeo was preparing to take control of the CIA. Connection strength moderate. Woolsey to Erica Franzwe. Oh, here we go. This is the strongest bridge between Pompeo investigation and the Franzwe files. Erica Franzwe appeared in the documentary Black Start concerning electromagnetic pulse threats, physical attacks, vulnerabilities in the U.S. Electrical grid. Woolsey also appeared in the film as former CIA director and energy security advocate. And remember, that's the same business that Lori Franzwe was in, too. That's what that video was about, like EMPs. Available footage shows Erica presenting or narrating material concerning 5 major threats to critical infrastructure: cyber hacks, hackers, physical attacks, EMP, man-made EMP. All right, Woolsey and Lori Franzwe, Erica's mom. The connection is less direct, but potentially more structurally meaningful. Lori's business background. Lori Franzwe publicly identifies herself as a founder or chair of companies including AZ Tech, G Tech, and E3 Tech, with a background involving telecommunications, software, cyber systems, aerospace engineering, and technology serving government or defense-oriented markets. Her public resume lists graduate education at the University of Cincinnati. Your files specifically identify the recurring issue that promotional material called her Dr. Lori Franzwe or Dr. Lauren Franzwe, while the educational record being examined showed master's degree rather than an obvious earned doctorate. So she's not really a doctor. Your source correctly treats that as a resume verification question rather than proof of broader intelligence information. And then it's going to get into Black Start. And that is that. Oh, Pompeo and Romania. We got something here, folks. We caught a fish. This is a strong documented connection, but it is governmental, not tied to Romanian angels. As Secretary of State, Pompeo repeatedly engaged Romanian officials over U.S.-Romania strategic partnership, NATO and Black Sea security, energy dependence, the Cernavodă nuclear power plant, civil nuclear cooperation, opposition to Chinese influence in telecommunications, and the 3 Cs initiative. He met the foreign nation. All right, connection, very strong official. All right, so he's got ties to Romania. And then we got the well-known Erica Kirk Romania stuff. All right, there we go. And that's just a little thank you. I know I lost a couple people while reading all that. But that's just giving you guys a glimpse of how I do research. Just running people's information, cross-referencing it with other people. Every now and then it just opens up other doors and other rabbit holes, and then just save the files, copy and paste stuff, write stuff down in case, God forbid, your computer gets hacked. I got everything written down. So, there's that. At my house and others, that's actually very important. Once you start getting into like the really sensitive stuff, you have to God forbid anything happens, you have to have your most sensitive stuff somewhere with somebody that you trust so that it will get out, because you never know. But let me see. Now I'm going to bounce around quick and I'm going to get back. Wait, is this the one that I already played? Hold on. Let me make sure I'm not playing the same clip twice. Yeah, no, this is not it. I wanted to go a little further. And then we're going to wrap it up here. I'm going to take a little break. And then at 11 p.m., I'm going to do a members only live, and I will do a Q&A and viewer's choice, whatever you guys want to do. And maybe, just maybe, we will have a surprise guest or two. I'll put the word out because that's always fun. Let me see. Hold on. Bear with me. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I lost all my damn time.
Yeah, so UVU did not have a fire marshal from 2023.
Not that.
USA Israel, yeah.
This so much.
It came from California. They drove it from Cali.
Yeah, they've auctioned it up. They found who owns it now.
Yeah,
It
who
came
owns
back.
it now on the day that the sod was ripped up and Dan Merrill was.
All right,
But
this is
that
it.
many people is usually mandatory. So
people, more than two, who are either at physically or have been on and off and contracted with in various different capacities Utah Valley University in the way of like facilities and maintenance, etc. There are like 3 people independent of each other that all contacted me, and all of them told me that on the day that the sod was ripped up and Dan Merrill was there, when he got there, it was all already cut away. It was all already rolled up neatly. And all he had to do was put the pavers on.
mm-hmm.
And it was like shortly after that I talked about Dan Merrill originally. He was trying to email me. He wanted to come on. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. I know everything I need to know about Utah hardscapes. So anyway, it ended up ultimately that I got contacted by another source who does contract work at UVU. And I'm not going to say in what capacity, somebody who's very familiar with these renovation projects. And this person told me that he had heard that there were Utah Valley University employees who were responsible for cutting away the sod and that they were rolling it up. And that at least one of them was like vocally pissed off because Charlie's blood was still on the grass and it was wet.
Wow.
And that it was dripping down their forearms. And that they sent a picture of their bloody forearm to their boss who worked at Utah Valley University. I'm like, well, do you know who that boss is? And he told me yes, and he gave me a name. So it occurred to me since Dan Merrill really wanted to talk to me, it occurred to me to talk to him, to call him and just say, hey, it's Stu Peters. I understand that you wanted to talk to me. What's up? Let him go on about whatever it is that he wanted to go on about. And then ask him the question, say, did you ever get told that there were pictures taken? And also, who was your point of contact on the ground, who was organizing all of this for Utah Valley University? And the name that he gave me was the same name that I had already been given. Yeah. So this person I know was then the person who was kind of facilitating what UVU employees were going to be a part of this. And Dan said, yes, I actually did hear of the photographs. And I said, multiple? And he goes, yeah, there were photographs that were sent of these bloody forearms and of the blood-soaked grass. And I said, okay, do you know who they were sent to? And he said, well, I would imagine that it would have been this person. So I then went to another third person inside of this kind of infrastructure, this apparatus. And I said, hey, are you familiar with this person? Yeah. Well, who is this person? Well, that would have been the person who would have been in charge of sending, employees there if there were any sent at all. And so I'm like, okay, so 3 different people are telling me this person called Russell Long, who is the plumbing lead at Utah Valley University, was the guy.
All right, guys, listen to this part. This is where it gets important. He's saying Russell Long. Now, what he's talking about, Stu Peters is talking about investigating UVU and investigating the scene when they dug everything up and repaved. Now, Russell Long is an individual that he said that he spoke to that, well, you'll see.
Who sent these UVU employees down there to do all of this. So naturally, of course, I want to talk to Russell Long. So I find Russell Long's contact information and I called him and he answered and I'm like, yeah, is this Russell? And he goes, yeah, who's this? I said, well, my name is Stu Peters and I'm just wanting to ask you a few questions regarding the renovation project where the incident happened with Charlie. And he goes, I don't know nothing about that. And I said, okay, well, would you have been responsible for sending the Utah Valley University employees down to that area to assist the state employees from, what is it called? The DFCM? Is that what it is? From DCFM, DFCM, whatever the acronym is, from the state who were there to do the excavation. They wanted help. The state wanted help. They asked UVU for help. So would you have been the person that sent the employees down there? There were no Utah Valley University employees there. I said, okay. Were you or were you not sent photographs of bloody forearms from this group of people who were down there? I have no idea what you're talking about. I want nothing to do with this. You're barking up the wrong tree. Goodbye. And he hung up.
Yeah.
So then I went back and I found pictures that were taken, which I did put on the show, of the crime scene. And it's basically eradication process. And there were 3 guys that were pictured. And then I went to the Utah Valley University website and I found the guy wearing a Utah Valley University hat who works there and was in a public picture posted on the UVU's front-facing website. His name wasn't there, but he's a UVU employee. Same guy that was in the picture that was taken of the people who were cutting away the sod after the sod was already gone. So Russell Long's a liar.
Is he related to Chief Long?
Unaware. I immediately, and I don't.
Yeah, the second I heard that name, I'm like, wait. So there's a guy named Russell Long who works at UVU who was involved with the paving and is lying to you about it. And then you have Chief Long, the person that Brian Harpole said, don't worry, I got you covered with the roof. Then you have Officer Bagley, who testified, whose body camera just happened to turn off before he found the screwdriver, miraculously, who was positioned at the Hall of Flags the day that Charlie Kirk was killed. The Hall of Flags, from what I understand, because during the preliminary hearing, I was in touch with a lot of people that were there, people that were both in the courtroom for basically all the days of the hearing, which I've covered, past 2 weeks in previous lives and videos and whatnot. But also I was in touch with people that were investigating the scene at UVU and the path for the escape route for whoever allegedly took that shot. I say allegedly because I don't know if a shot was taken or if a shot was taken, if it was from that position. There's really no evidence of it. There's no physical evidence. You got to remember that screwdriver that now they're saying they found on the roof, for the first 4 or 5 days, they said they found in the woods next to the gun. And that screwdriver, now miraculously on the roof, also happens to be the only piece of physical evidence that actually connects a shooting or connects Tyler Robinson. But anyway, Officer Bagley, from what I've been told, his position at the Hall of Flags, where he was supposed to be doing security, whatnot, he was the one that would have had the viewpoint to the roof of the Losi Center. He would have been the person that would have seen what was happening, to my understanding. based on people that investigated the scene. So when I hear the same last name with somebody involved with the paving, and then the sheriff that's, was responsible for the person with the busted body cam who theoretically should have seen what was going on, I get really, really suspicious. I think that is definitely worth looking into. But that is my show for tonight. Let's see. Was there any others? We got one more super. The MSJ podcast, $2. Thank you very much. Thank you for keeping the torch lit. Go Max. Christ is King. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And thank you guys so much. There was so much generosity, so much interaction with the chat. This has been a really good live. I think that it's cool that I got to learn new things. I got a lot done tonight. I really did. I got to get my message across. I got to share what I'd been researching. I got to watch Danks' stuff for the first time with you and discover something else, and then go down another rabbit hole and get to give you guys some insight on how I do research. This was pretty cool. And do me a favor, if you haven't already, please like the video, because all that engagement really does help the growth of the channel and supports the channel in its own way. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Again, this is a growing channel, and I'm just getting started, and I'm just getting going. And if you want to support the channel, like I said, one of the best ways that you could do it is to become a member. And I will be back. I'm going to set up the link right now. It is 10 p.m. Eastern time by me. At 11 p.m., I will be live, and I'll do a little members only after party. Listen, I got to support my members. I know a lot of you guys aren't members. You're having fun. You want to keep watching. We're giving good information, but I got a lot of supporters, and it's just what I do. You got 2.5 hours out of me too. Normally I'll keep it under 2 hours, and then I'll do the members only. So, I'm putting in overtime right now, but you guys have been great. I really hope you enjoyed. And like I always say, be kind, be grateful, do something nice for somebody. And, like I said earlier, don't worry. There are a lot of reasons to be hopeful right now. We just have to just keep speaking up. You learn things, share what you're learning with other people. We need to spread the message. This is a movement, and we're going to change the world. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great night. I'll see you soon.